It's time.
Yee. I like it.
Get them all.
like it.
I'm telling you, you and Julie should wander your way down here.
I know. I actually was talking with somebody about Colorado Springs at my new job.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
What are you doing, by the way?
Selling shoes.
Oh, fun.
Really expensive shoes. So.
Is it commission, I'm guessing?
No, I mean, we get what's called skigs. So if we sell certain things, we get like a small dollar amount out of it, but it's actually just not commission based, luckily. And Julie's home. Yay! Hey, Rose. Hey, Pens.
It's in your head, Mystic. It's in your head.
I hate that fucking video. I hate that video with a passion, Blue. That video is so annoying.
It's
so annoying.
Shoes. It's got some shoes.
Oh my gosh, shoes.
Oh my god, shoes.
That was like one of the first videos on YouTube, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's
first coming to, or it was like E-Bombs World or something.
Yeah, it was. God, that was forever ago. But every time Green gets off on a tangent on shoes, that's all my brain goes to.
Oh
my god, shoes.
Well, it's not like a real tangent, though.
No.
It's more of me complaining about people.
What is this picture above that of the feet? What the heck happened there?
Yeah.
Pew pew.
Yeah. That was another conversation about shoes.
Oh, okay.
Thanks.
Yeah, it was hammer toe. Anyway.
Oh, good. It's always fun.
Yeah. I see a lot of that. Because people don't take care of their feet. If I could teach you guys anything, take care of your feet. Wear shoes that fit.
Okay, whatever. I watched my wife though, she loves that. It's like it was like an old YouTube video. It's like, let's do the fork in the garbage disposal.
Oh no.
It was like, oh my god, what is this? Like,
oh Jesus.
Let's do the fork. Now it's stuck in my head. God.
Oh my gosh. Julie's humming in the background. I don't even know what she's humming. Let's see how. Hello, everyone.
There's Pens. Hello, Pens.
Let's see here. Say one date. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. I'm loving it.
Are you though?
I'm getting there. Can Twitch teach Twitter how to do layout changes because I'm digging this?
I haven't Twitch layout.
I have not opened up a normal stream on Twitch yet.
Yeah, no, I just go directly to the dashboard.
Yeah. Evening? It's so near Saturday here. Hey, Drafty.
Hey, Drafty. All right, let's see. Oh, wow. Yeah, okay. Sorry for anyone getting blasted with the Twitch audio. Okay, so it's not like super different. Or I'm just not remembering.
Hello?
Hello?
I like the layout. So is it different on the...
Be right back.
Is it different on the channels?
I honestly don't know.
I'm pulling
I'm not on Twitch enough to.
Yeah, I'm right there with you.
Just shut the door so the dog's clicking doesn't come across the feed. Yeah. There's enough dog audio in our stuff. I know they are.
Oh, nice. That's a nice
little.
That's a nice little layout, actually. That
you got a bow tie?
The other nice thing too is going to be, I think it's the next week or so, the changes that they're making for affiliates too. Did you guys see that on Twitter?
I have not yet.
Hang on, let me pull it up so I don't. Twitch.
They made dark mode darker. That's good.
Yeah,
Technically, there's a darker
There's a-
dark mode on Twitter too.
yeah.
There's a black mode.
You can also do that via your browser too, which is what
Yeah.
I do.
Darkness.
Which is honestly everything hits dark mode because. So they're rolling out updates. So basically, affiliates will start getting a share of ad revenue. Streamers have more control over pre-rolls. They are not putting ads on non-monetized channels, and they are introducing this concept of picture-in-picture, so that while the ads are playing, you can still see the stream on the top right corner.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
That'll be handy.
it's a lot of like I actually really think it's a cool little. Here, let me grab this.
It's like
Yeah,
I still
and
only
the only
see
problem is
shoes.
there's still like I love how people are still ragging on them about that mobile
Can't see it.
situation.
That status doesn't exist apparently.
Really?
Yeah, according to me. Maybe.
Oh, take the 3 off.
Gotcha.
I bumped a 3 on there.
There we go. It's like I don't think Twitch has banned me or blocked me.
Yeah, no, they don't like you
As far as
anymore.
I'm aware.
Yeah, and they're pushing again the mobile subscription and stuff, and it's like I just didn't even get involved in the conversation. But
That's still nice though.
yeah,
Some of those
yeah,
different
they're
changes.
buffing up some of the stuff, and it's really cool. Then like I
Green
think
got
channel
shot.
points. They're doing like channel
That's
points
yeah, like Mixer for viewing for extended periods of time,
yep.
like bit type things.
Yep.
Yeah, I think they've talked about that for a little while.
Well, and they've been playing with it with like I think it was loyalty badges or whatever, but I think this is like I don't really know. I think maybe it's your emote itself is different, so it's not just a badge. Your actual emote, like, it says affiliates. I haven't actually read this particular blog one, but it says affiliates and partners will be able to reward loyal members of the community with special perks. Oh, they're in beta testing. That's why.
I think the biggest issue I've seen with Twitch is that open drink bar at TwitchCon with all the beers out already. That was weird.
Like it was just a dumb decision. Like, whoever organized that was just they didn't think beyond. Like there's
like let's bring all our professionals in and get them toasted like high school, college kids.
Yeah, not only that, but there's also like there's a lot of issues with that just from a health and food standard. Like technically anyways, so everything that needs to be said has been said on that, like ad nauseum.
So, Potato,
Hello.
do you have your Audacity pulled up or
I do.
audio recording?
Are we doing individual or are we doing
That's what I'm trying to figure out.
ookie doke?
I have mine up. It's right here.
Sweet. We can do individual tracks this time, Blue, and you can see how I've modified my audio so I'm not so quiet.
Yay! And remember, we want to speak into the microphone the correct
you want me
way.
to speak into the microphone?
No, I just don't want you to speak into the back of the microphone.
I'm sorry. I only did that for 2 years. I fixed it. I finally figured it out, guys.
Only 2 years.
Only 2 years.
I didn't know there was nothing wrong. No one said shit.
Technology's difficult. Leave him alone. Leave me alone.
Oh my gosh.
All right, I'm good to go.
You ready to start the audio, Potato?
Ready. I have my R key ready.
3, 2, 1, click. Audio starting now.
I am recording.
I am recording. So, pull up whatever audio you use will be potato qualities. I'll see myself out. Wow.
Oh, no shit. Okay, so Screwball, I had to, so we did volunteer work today for team building or whatever, which is absolutely, oh my God. We packed 5,000 pounds of bread because we went to Harvesters, which is a local like pantry kitchen that deals with like basically all the food deserts and stuff like that. And so yeah, I mean it's a great program, whatever. But the guy who was our like leader or whatever of the warehouse, he was like the warehouse manager the manager on the floor. He was just nonstop dad jokes and puns.
Those are the best.
Yeah.
I nearly was about to punch him in the face by the end of because we were back in the back for like 2 hours, I think. I'm like, oh my god. Well, and Screwball, that was exactly the problem. It was all bread puns, and after Destiny Community, I'm done. I'm just done with bread puns. Like I'm just like, you think it's funny? I'm gonna punch you in the throat. Like,
Dwyer, go to bed. You wanted it to be Tuesday already.
yeah.
We had somebody in line tonight, and they were just about to go into the haunted house, and I hear him go, "Are there bathrooms inside?"
Oh God!
Are there girls inside?
And I just kind of spoke it up and just very kind of just loud enough for it to be heard over the crowd. I go, "Not for you," and just and the whole the line starts laughing, and she's like, "I really have to pee before I go in." I'm like,
God.
"Oh my god, crap! Okay, come with me."
Is it the darkness? I want to cast magic missile. Oh my god, that's what I need to send you, Green.
Magic missile.
But are there girls there? We want to do them.
There's literally nothing in the room. It's just darkness. I
It's
still
just
want to cast magic missile.
Cast magic missile at the darkness. Oh my god, fine, whatever, roll damage.
Fine, whatever, rolled it. Kills everything in the room.
Kills
It's like you have cantrips. You have cantrips. Why the hell aren't you using cantrips, you dumb?
I've never played D&D, and I still love that video because it just cracks me up.
Yeah, 8-bit reenactment of Dungeons and Dragons.
Dungeons and Dragons.
Wow.
Come on, Black Flag. Come on, dude.
Wow. Black Flag, I even think that one's bad.
I just waited for someone to notice it. I was like,
leadership is in the game and not DC.
Washington.
Wow.
That was pretty good. I'll give him that.
Yeah.
It took me a second. I was like, wait, what? And I was like, okay.
Yeah. Anyone feel like they're living through history? Because there's a lot of crap going down there
There's
right
some
now.
weird stuff going on.
Oh my god.
No, you did it. No, you did it. No, you did it.
Oh,
No, you did it. I'm
literally.
like, God, all of you shut the fuck up.
They're all like second graders pointing fingers at each other.
Really?
And I'm being generous with the second grader aspect. Oh my god. Black Flag, go to your corner.
Black Flag.
I am done with
I'm
it.
getting toasted by the host.
Good lord. Screwball, don't you start.
Screw God. Jesus. Nope. You know
Thank
what?
you.
We're just not going to acknowledge it.
All right. Top 3. Let's start this and let the shenanigans stop on that front and start up some different ones. Are we ready?
Okay, yeah. Jesus.
Mm-hmm. Blue?
Yes.
Cool. Welcome to FFC. Blue.
What?
I heard you in the
I
background,
didn't
guy.
do anything.
Somebody made a noise.
That literally wasn't me.
Somebody made a noise.
It probably was me, but I wasn't even paying attention.
It was probably me, but I don't know what I did.
When everybody flinches back like Green is angry.
Run away.
This is for the blooper reel later. Oh man. It was me. I made the noise. Drafty? Go to your corner. All right. Welcome to FFC Top 3, a show where we, your FFC hosts, count things down from 3 to number 1. Thank you for joining us this week. if you have a suggestion, please hit us up in any of the locations you can contact us on Twitter, in the Discord, or even at focusfirechat@gmail.com. This week, we kind of like bypassed the whole poll thing this week because mainly Green forgot and Potato had a great idea, since when this top 3 comes out, we will have had the new release for a day. And so Potato was like, let's do kind of a throwback of our top 3 favorite moments from Destiny 2 this last year. And I was like, okay, that's great. That gets me out of this little bind of forgetting to put up the poll.
You're welcome.
Yes. So we're going to do top 3 favorite moments from this last year in Destiny. So
just for clarification, is it in-game events or things
doing
within
Destiny
the Destiny
related?
Yeah,
okay, cool.
That's,
Related.
yeah, that's
nope,
fine.
that's all I need.
I think some of us are going to have some of the same ones, but
No.
oh my gosh.
No, never.
My number 2 is actually really funny. So
Yay! I like funny ones and stories. So let's start these shenanigans out. We're going to start with number 3 with Blue, then Potato, then myself. Blue, you are up.
So my number 3 is actually going to be finally getting the lore network up and running with the Destiny Quarterly Lore Review, or the QLR as I kind of refer to it. That's been something that's been bouncing around in my head, and I know in Green I've been throwing it at Green for a while. And so to finally get a chance to sit down for, I think it was like 2 hours or so. I still need to get the audio available for everybody. But that's my schedule's just been absolutely insane. But like actually getting a chance to sit down with all the people in the lore community that we're a part of, not the whole lore community, but the ones that we're kind of closely affiliated with. And actually just having an excuse to sit down and just really just kind of chat, like not have it wasn't really structured. It wasn't really, it wasn't formal, which was really nice. And it was just enjoyable. We just had a great time. And it was exactly everything I was hoping it would be. And the reception to it has been, beyond what I was hoping. So we're definitely going to be continuing to do them, but that's my number 3, is just like finally getting that, ball rolling.
I've been keeping an eye on the website, man. It looks great.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, on the website alone, like getting that moved over and opening it up and updated and all that. Yeah. That was a labor. Not necessarily. It was a labor of love, but there was not a lot of love in some of the changes, because getting it to cooperate with some of the stuff. I've gotten very familiar with the WordPress support team.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I don't mean that negatively. Like they like
no.
I love the WordPress support team. They're amazing.
Responsive compared to some sites.
Yeah. There's a reason I go on rants about YouTube, because yeah, their support isn't existent, at least for us, which is normal. I get it, but WordPress and Podbean, like their support team, I can it's almost on the level of like texting people. Like you send a message and within 15 minutes max, I've gotten responses from everyone, and it's just like it's made making the website better, and kind of decentralizing the focus really has also really kind of been a nice break. So I know it's mostly around Destiny, but like also kind of breaking open the lore network and doing like Uni has like the Path of Exiles series of articles that he's doing. Pins has a few Halo. Dimmy's doing
Lord of the Rings,
and he did an analysis of I think the Fallen Hierarchy, which will be kind of similar to what we're talking about tonight or on this week's episode. And then I think he said there's like 2 or 3 other articles that he's in the process of working on. And then we have one of my old friends from college, actually. She is doing a series on Voltron, analysis of Voltron, especially with the last season kind of being she's really big in that community, or she's not really big. She's very active in that community. And so there's a lot of stuff going on in that community that, was it, whatever. But the reason why is an interesting dive into like the underlying structure of like the social commentary and stuff like that. And so she has a couple articles that are doing stuff like that. And so it's like just getting a chance to talk to people about different stuff, after doing Destiny for God, what, 5 years now.
Mhm.
It's kind of it's a nice way to kind of freshen things up.
You know who else has an article on the Lore Network? Potato.
Mm-hmm. We need to get another one.
Yeah, well, could add that to the list of things I need to get done.
Mm-hmm.
No kidding.
You should talk about the pain bell.
I'm not getting into that.
So, Potato, we're going to bypass that and go into your number 3.
All right, my number 3 is, and 2 of these are actually going to involve the Focus Fire, or at least the Focus Fire community and stuff like that. My number 3 is getting pens in blue through the Last Wish raid.
Oh my God!
Nice.
Oh my God!
Because that
go run in this corner. Oh, okay. What am I doing? Just run to this corner.
Run to this corner and don't say a word. Just because we had to listen for where Riven.
I'm
We
like, all right.
absolutely cheesed Riven, and I'm not afraid to admit that because I don't know a group that hasn't cheesed Riven at least once.
Oh, I've done it.
I think the highlight of that was everyone was complaining about what was it, the ship, and I'm like, I don't know what this is. And like half of the fire team was like, they just left. They were like, I don't know, I hate you.
Yeah, you
I was
got the
like,
ship, and they're like, I hate. Just like I'm like, oh God.
I'm like, I don't know what this does.
Just get you one step closer to a title.
Well, it was great too. It was just really funny, and like you get to the last part where you have to take the heart and run it back through the raid, which is my all-time favorite part of that entire raid. And it's what is it? It goes, the heart has chosen pens, and Pen just goes, oh no.
See, I like being the first one.
The jumping puzzle.
Oh God.
Oh my God. I felt so bad. I wish I could have went back in there and helped you, dude, but I'd already gotten to the other side. And we were just sitting there going, maybe we should just pull him through. And like, no, let him get it. Let him get it. And we're like,
Even Pins is like, pull me through. Pull me through.
Yeah, Pins like, pull me through.
Oh my gosh.
And we're just like, but no, everyone did great. We got through Sure Ido, and we got through Kali, and we got through the Kali
ogre.
Fight. Yeah, the ogre, and
most of them were pretty quick.
The tower. Yeah, the tower fight was a lot of fun. That's always a great fight. The music in that freaking part of the raid is absolutely great.
It was
it's just that fight.
What was the looking at the pictures one? That's the one that kept glitching out at us.
The vault.
Is it the vault or is it the
no, not the vault? The one where you have to like jump on the dial pad.
That's Callie.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And we're clearing ads. It's like, who's clearing ads? Somebody shoot the thrall.
Someone shoot him.
Yeah. So when we run that, I always have a tether. Like Cole and I are always running tether during that section. And so it's way easier because you can tie them all up and then somebody takes them out and it's fine. Not a big deal.
The thing that kept messing us up on that one was when you go to jump, like afterwards. Like it wasn't the actual it wasn't the actual event. It was afterwards. Everyone kept getting murked by the phalanx up at the top of the thing. Like they'd be jumping up and you just hear this.
We call them like it was like
that's
Mick
why you haven't
Boopy or something like that. It's like, oh, we found him.
Blue, you could have stopped that. I know you run Night Stalker, throw your smoke grenade.
I was in the back because they were explaining what to do. I was like, I don't know what's going on.
Oh my goodness.
Well, I know.
And then one of your guys got through and he's like, oh, don't worry, I'll take care of it. We're like, please don't.
That was Shadow. Yeah, Shadow's a master. That guy has done Petra's run.
Nice.
And he's ridiculous at raids. He's a great guy. And he's done that raid so many times, like so much so that he's done a Petra's run and he's gotten through without dying. And I don't know how he did it because I would have thrown my controller through the wall at some point. Like, because that raid, there's so many little points where you could just mess up and you're just like, oh crap.
That's when you run with the
Okay,
same
Josh,
team
okay,
over
Blue,
and
how about
over.
the platforms. Blue, what platforms?
Yep,
Yeah.
it's a legit
Gosh.
conversation. Like I've had that conversation before. Jump right here.
Well, I know one of
The hell you want me to jump?
where I'm shooting.
Okay, all right.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so my number 3 is similar, except for it was actually helping Pins get through Outbreak the other day.
Oh,
Hmm,
nice.
Yeah, I saw
That's
you.
a
I saw
fun
you
one,
said
too.
something.
Yeah,
that you want
it's
to talk
just-
about a jumping puzzle?
Yeah, no kidding, right?
well, it was just normal Outbreak. We haven't even done the heroic one yet. And by the way, Blue,
Oh, no.
you're never allowed to do that while we're doing the show. That one in
I
particular,
tried that
you are-
once. I tried that once while we were doing the show, and I was like, "Yep, nope, not gonna happen."
I could pull we could do this. We can do this. Like
the jumping problem was, I believe, Uni, because he kept getting ricocheted by the fans, if I remember that
Yeah.
correctly.
that section's the hardest part, in my opinion, during the normal one.
We were doing the heroic one, and we did like the first set of the catalyst, and my buddy just goes, "Stand here and read these numbers." I was like, "Okay," because I had no idea what I was doing. The rest of that, you have to like decode the 42 different encryptions on or something or
Mhm.
whatever. I was like,
Mhm.
"Nah, don't ask me to do. Let me just have me stand here and read numbers, man. I'm gonna mess this up." Like,
Yeah.
it was bad.
I've yet to do the heroic version of that.
It's fun. It's really fun.
Oh yeah, the thing I have a problem with, and I'm trying to remember where I messed up because I tried pretty hard when it first dropped, when the heroic dropped, and then I just gave up and haven't gone back into it. But I can go all the way out on the outside and everything. I just can't do it fast enough to get to
Right.
the end.
Mhm.
But I don't know.
Got a warlock poof. That's how we do it.
No, the hunter's just fine. I have stompies. I can do the jumping puzzle part just fine. It's just just a few silly mess ups.
It's all good.
Yeah, it's a thing. But we're already to number 2, Blue. What's your number 2 experience this year?
Guardian Con. Like just getting a chance to see everybody, and like just within our personal community, even with the frustrations that we all went through with it, all the stuff that we had to deal with, it still is a excuse in my brain to get a chance to hang out with people. And then in the same vein as like DQLR, it was a chance to sit down with people that we deal with quite a bit, and we're really, I mean, it's almost a daily chat with most of them anyways. But it was an excuse to actually get to sit down with them in person. I mean, we actually got to have dinner with them this time, which was a really nice thing. I would, definitely next time we're going to probably try to do something like that again. Like we got to have lunch with Bife the first day, and then we managed to drag Matt out to Thai food on the last day. He was
Oh
falling
my God,
asleep.
That man's a hero.
Oh my God. Did you guys see the picture of him at Man at Arms house after?
That's why he's the
He's a lore burrito.
This is why he's the slumbering one.
Oh God. What was it? McCuddle's couch or something?
Yeah.
I remember somebody took a photo, and it was like me, and I can't remember who was in the photo, because I think it was Purple and Baxter were in it as well. And I can't remember who else was in the photo, but it was like this really serious look on all of our faces. And I remember commenting on it. I said, "I know for a fact we talked about both Destiny lore and politics, and you can't tell which one we're talking about."
God.
Like,
Well,
like,
and then was it you that Anon was like, "I'm not talking to him anymore"?
Oh.
Oh my
Because
gosh.
Anon didn't get a chance to come because of
No.
I think it was like the last minute mess up or mix up or something.
Yeah.
So I think he was chatting with you guys about politics via Twitter, if I remember correct, that was interesting.
Was he?
But then the other thing
it
was
might
the meme with Baxter and beer during the
Oh,
Q&A
the
thing.
look on your face.
Did you just?
Oh my gosh.
Or what was the other one?
The turn of his head was amazing.
Yeah. The other one was get someone who looks at you like Mylan looks at Bife.
Oh, the memes from that.
I still love the meme of all of you guys going, "All right, ready? 3, 2, 1." Just like, and Baxter's going, "Yes." He's just so happy. The man was just so happy. I love it.
Oh man. Gosh. I'm just remembering with Mylan at the restaurant the last night with Pens explaining Halo
Oh,
lore.
he was so interested
Yeah,
and so exhausted at the same
he was
time.
loving it.
If
He
you,
was
if
like,
you could have heard,
he was like,
Sorry,
so
laughing.
this must be what it feels like when I'm talking to people.
Oh man,
if you could have heard the sound in his head, it's just doo.
Yeah.
It's just like,
that was good times.
oh man, it was all
Gosh.
good.
Yeah. All right,
Ah.
your turn, Potato.
Okay, my number 2 is it's Guardian Con, but it's a particular moment in Guardian Con. And I remember we had managed to get a Crucible match together for the
Oh,
first wave.
yes!
Yes, this
And
was
we
good.
teamed up with oh my god, how am I forgetting? I'm forgetting his screen name right now. He's a Deaf Guardian, and he was part of the team that did
Freaking beast is what he
The
is.
raid.
He was a member of the group of Guardians that did the raid Deaf, and they did the whole thing through emotes. That's how they
Mhm.
communicated throughout the whole thing, through emotes and through video chat, which was incredible. Really, really nice guy. And I feel like a complete jerk right now for not being able to find him on my Twitter because I feel like a jerk. And
We'll find him before the episode ends.
Thank you. And it was cool because he was like waiting in line and he didn't have a team. And I speak just enough sign language to, get by. And I talked to him, and I was talking to the guy in line, and he's like, "Do you have a team?" I'm like, "I have. How many do I need?" He goes, 6. I go, "I have 5, and I want to include this guy." And he goes, "I'll bring you to the front of the line." I'm like, "Perfect." I run out to the thing and I go, grab
Guys,
I go,
get over
I go,
here.
we're next. Let's go. And you go, "What?" I just go, "Shut up and follow me."
Mhm.
And,
All right.
and it was green, blue, me, that Guardian, Man at Arms, and Pens.
Mhm.
And it was this Crucible match in general because it was on Altar of Flame. And I remember I was coming up center stairs, and I had
Oh, no,
Austin,
yes.
and I don't play on PS4. I play on Xbox. And I'm leveling my Austringer at this Guardian. I'm ready to take this Titan out. And from off screen on the left side, and ironically to my left, Man at Arms exclaims, "For Texas!" And out of nowhere, a Titan wearing Peregrine Green comes off screen left to right and just knees this Titan in the face as hard as he can.
It was the
And I'm
best
just
part
like-
of that match.
And I'm just like, okay, next target, moving on. And I could not keep it together after that because it was the funniest thing I'd ever seen in my life in a Crucible match. It could not have been framed more perfectly. If I could have clipped it, I would have been playing it forever. It was amazing. For Texas, bam! This dude just disappears in arc lightning, and it was phenomenal.
The problem
Oh my-
is that it was so distracting to the rest of us that we started giggle fitting, and we're down by
We
30
still
points for a
won.
while. We ended up winning,
We
but
still
because
won.
of the dude that we were playing, like because
Yeah,
he
like
was
oh,
I need to find him
he
now.
was
freaking-
amazing.
but
I'm
no,
so mad.
the best part of that whole exchange was he yelled it, and the other guy on the team looked up, and he was like, "I'm sorry." Like, he was like,
It's Def Kalo, by the way. Def Kalo
Okay.
3. That's his.
"Oh
that's
god,
his
man, that guy's
Twitter-
amazing."
Twitter handle. At Def_Kalo3 CALO. If you guys go friend him, man, he's an awesome dude. He's really, really nice. We were able to meet up a couple of times during the event, and he's just a really nice dude, man. He's absolutely awesome, and he smoked it. We teamed back up and went through for the token, or the badge.
But you guys got paired up against.
We got our first match. We got paired up against I think it was like Cammy Cakes, Drewski, and freaking. It was a slaughter.
Yeah.
And then one of the guys on the other team was nice enough to give us his token because he had just won.
Mhm.
And so I went through again, and I kind of teamed up with these random guys, and I didn't know who they were. They were really, really into it, and they were like, "What's your KD?" And I was like, "It's just a game, guys. I want to win, yeah, but I mean, let's." It's okay. And they subbed in this one dude, and I didn't find out till later after we were playing. The dude's from Bomb Squad Kittens.
Oh
Oh,
my!
And so the dude carried us to victory. I in no way earned that thing. I got like 6 or 7 kills to my name. That dude got like 50. And I was just like, I'm like, and I'm like, okay, so I need to follow your stream because I got to learn how to play like you play, because that was incredible. He's a really nice dude too. I sadly didn't get his name either because he just kind of disappeared into the crowd like a ninja in the night. But freaking, it was awesome. It was a lot of fun, and I still have that pin on my backpack. And just those little Gambit and Crucible matches were a lot of fun.
Yeah,
and just Man at Arms for Texas and Peregrine grieving someone into outer space was absolutely incredible. Okay.
Also,
enough about me.
I'm just one more thing about Man at Arms. It's just the fact that he kept going up. He kept going up.
If we keep talking about him,
he's going to show up.
Give me the Shax helmet.
Yeah.
Not
even that. Did you know that he kept going up to the devs, like the random devs that were manning the little token booth, the little initial, what is it, the drifter coin that you got when you won or when you just played the first time? He kept going up to them and just like begging them every once in a while. It's like, coin. Rick, leave them alone. They're not gonna just give you a coin. Stop.
He came back and he goes, they were like, man, I want to give you one. I really do. But if I give you one, this place will riot. And we're like, yes, that's absolutely what will happen. Absolutely. This place will burn to the ground if we see that happen.
Oh my God. He's like chaos incarnate. It's amazing.
He's a chaotic neutral is what he is. And he does a really good job of it.
Yeah. All right.
Give me the Shax on.
Oh my gosh. The fact that he got Sarah Daniels to do the same
that was
thing.
amazing.
Like, why? Oh my gosh.
Well, the best part of all nonsense was then they posted a picture of a random dev wearing the Shax helmet at PAX.
Oh my God.
And I was like,
everyone tagged him. Everyone tagged him.
Rick, look what happened. He's like, oh, those.
For Texas.
He got so mad.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my
God. He man. He's a fun one. He was definitely a fun one to meet.
That was a great time.
All right. My number 2 is going to seem really lame in comparison to the last two, but it's important to me because in Destiny 1, I was not a PvPer at all. And I really didn't care about Crucible other than just like the weekly type reset thing. And this year, because of Hydra and because of a few members in Hydra in particular really pushing for me to, and just kind of putting that challenge forward, I actually got both Luna's, Hal, and Revoker. Nice. And and it's one of those things like, I don't chase guns on my own normally. Like, I'm not a big collector, but it really felt good getting those two and just earning it, flexing my PvP-ness. I mean, I earned that. Oh, and I did get Recluse too, because I got Recluse and Revoker at the same time. But I don't know. Recluse is its own thing. But yes,
that thing's.
Oh yeah, it still kicks tail in PvP. Like I use that, or what's the arc one? I can't think of it at the moment. The arc submachine gun that has the chain lightning.
Wrist runner.
Yes,
that's my go-to Gambit Fallen weapon.
That's my go-to in 0 hour.
I'm honestly surprised Drifter hasn't said to me, enemies at the never mind. And just because I've wiped that part of the map clean by the time he finishes saying it.
Oh yeah. I've seen it clear out maps real quick.
Oh, it's so nice.
Yes.
Shoot me. You have messed up now, Fallen. You have now messed up.
It's the you telling the enemies to hit me, hurt me. Yeah, but earning pinnacle weapons this year and actually going after pinnacle weapons has been a really big highlight for me.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right, number 1's Blue.
Just podcasting in general. I know it's kind of similar. Like, I don't know. Like it's just been an excuse to keep involved with stuff that normally I would probably just not be concerned with, but it forces me to pay attention to it, and because of that I am still interested in it, which is it's like a weird cycle, but like the overall thing of just the weekly schedule, the weekly habit of the podcast of doing Focus Fire gives me something to look forward to at the end of the week, and especially these last like 3 or 4 weeks, that's been something really big, because of my schedule at work is just it's quarter three. The third quarter is always a fun quarter in the financial world. Let's just put it that way. And so like, yeah, just that'll always be probably my number one whenever we do these things, is because that is something that I feel like I don't say it enough. I probably do, but I'm both thankful for and proud of what we have done with Focus Fire, like just Focus Fire in general, not including the Lore Network and everything else. But being given the chance to meet everybody that we've met through this has been a huge blessing. And I have to keep reminding myself of that, because like to me it's like when things happen regularly, I'm really bad at just like normalizing that. And then I talk to other people and they're like, wait, you what? Because like I think kind of going back to Guardian Con, like one of the examples was we were sitting at one of the booths, and someone was, I can't remember if it was Kara or someone, but they were upset because they had gotten one of the posters, but they wanted to get Bife's signature, and it was like, and I was sitting there and I'm like, I'll just ask him. They're like, what? I'm like, just give me the posters. I'll go get them. And like, I mean, for us, for us, it's nothing out of the ordinary. I'm like, actually, I just sicked purple on him. But at the end of the day, which it was like
crime unto itself.
Well, I mean, it was one of those things where it's like there's this astronomically large line, and I already pissed them off because I didn't. Yeah, that's a story in and of itself. But like like the whole thing happened, and then at the end of it, they came back and they're like, "Oh my gosh, this means so much." And I'm like, "It's a signature, right? Like."
It's a friend of ours,
right? Yeah. It's nothing out of the ordinary in my brain, and I know that's weird, but like that's the way my brain just associates things. And so it's like those little things when it's like, wait, whoa, okay, so we do have, it is something that is special, and I want to call that out as something that it is extremely valued by me, especially. And I know I'm probably speaking for Green and Potato and pretty much everyone in the mod team and the in the past podcasting team, whatever. It's something that is noticed and something that is appreciated, because I don't think any of us would have been given this chance if it hadn't been for the podcast. And I just it's to me it's amazing.
This community has finally gotten me, or pushed me, not like literally pushed me,
inspired.
Inspired.
Thank
you. They inspired me to finally go after the voice acting stuff that I've wanted to do for so long, and just being able to give back to the community, give them the story, bring the stories that are usually just on the screen or on paper, bring them to somewhat to life, and do it in a way that I've really enjoyed doing. And that I couldn't have done that without Focus Fire, without Pens, without freaking all the people in chat, all the Bife and Mylan, just talking with Mylan and them at Guardian Con. And that was yeah, it's it really is it's like a second family.
All right, Potato, what is your number one then?
Emotions. I'm gonna steal off you a little bit there, Green. I have been chasing Fabled since D1 launched.
Did you get it?
And I've gotten a couple of the smaller pinnacle weapons over the year, like the fusion rifle. I can't remember the loaded question and things like that. I got a couple of them in the other season. This season, I hit Fabled, and in doing so, this is in the last week or this last season, I got Hush, Luna's Howl, Recluse, Mountaintop, Redrick's Broadsword, Truth, The Angry Toaster, and Anarchy. And I am about 100 kills short on Revoker right now. And I couldn't have done that without my clan, the Phalanx Bobsled team, because those guys really brought me to, I got frustrated, and I never freaking, I never got to that point. Every time I get close, I get knocked down. I'd lose like 500 points. And it's like, oh, forget this. This isn't worth it. And then, we got it. And
That's awesome.
I got it without, and don't take this the wrong way. I got it without having to switch to a hunter. And
hey, no worries.
And I did it as a warlock, which it can be challenging as a warlock in Crucible, as we all know.
It can be challenging as a hunter right now in Crucible. I'm looking at you, Titans.
Yeah. Shoulder charge.
My gosh.
And so and I didn't have to do it with like meta weapons. I was able to do it with Laminar and my hand cannon. And
nice.
That's how I play. And
so, by the way,
Green can attest to my Laminar skills. So.
You are the second person that I've seen use that combo really, really well.
It's a really fun. Can you guys hear those fire sirens? I can turn this gain down a little bit here if you can hear
just
those.
Slightly. It's fine. Yeah. Don't worry about it.
The fire department's going by. No, but Laminar, and I mean, I love all these weapons. Recluse is just fun, and Luna's Howl is just absolutely is a blast. And I'd love to go for next season, try to shoot for Not Forgotten.
Mm-hmm.
But Laminar is probably like my favorite weapon in the game. It's just so satisfying when you pop somebody with that thing, and they don't expect it. And if you get really good with it, even a shotgun rusher, I've knocked down so many shotgun rushers with that, and you can tell when I do it when we're in game chat because you'll just hear me go, no.
Mm-hmm.
Nope. And you'll see somebody die. I feel like Legolas, and I love it.
So as long as you hit the headshot, body shot, you're good. Headshot with a bow, body shot with a hand cannon, they're gone.
Oh, it's great too because they jump away from you and they don't know you're pulling the string on that bow, and it's and they jump up and you go, oh look, a snack, bam, you just blow up out of the air. It's just like, oh shit. It's just yeah.
You're good. You're good. Man, yeah.
Yeah,
that is a fun combo. It's the most infuriating combo to play against. I will say that
because no one expects it. There's so few people that play with a bow that I'm not going to say it's like the most common. I'd say trace rifle is probably the most common or uncommon.
Mm-hmm.
But like they don't expect the bow when you pull it out, and I've seen a fair share of Laminarchs, but it's not a very very common. Thing, and it's even more terrifying when you find I have a subtle calamity with quick access sling. So you shoot the bow, the bow is unloaded, you can immediately hit your switch, and if you have last word on, it's almost like lightning. And you can combine that with Ophidian aspects, it's a lightning switch, you just go pop 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 like that, and there's nothing they can do about it.
See, the other one I've been using because the other person I know that uses it really well is Dwyer, and he's a Titan. He uses One-Eyed Mask and Laminar, so he's getting the wall hack slight aspect of it too.
Yeah.
You can do it with Foe Tracer on Hunter, and it works pretty well too.
If you shoot the Laminar correctly, if you shoot like when you pull it tight and you hit something,
you proc the poison.
You proc the poison. You actually get a little bit of like wall hacks because you can see the damage numbers run away and then run back, and you're like, oh, there he is, pop, and just like you just see where he's going, and it's like I've more than once been like, oh, you're just going to the right, and he comes out the other side and right in the head, and you're just like, I win. So
yes,
it's just satisfying, and it was really good, and I owe it all to my clanmates for pulling me through that and letting me play how I wanted to play. And I mean, that's 7 weapons right there in the course of a couple weeks, and
that's awesome.
I never want to grind for Hush again. So
yeah, that's what I'm not going for.
Sorry, that's a bit of a rant. My bad.
No, you're good. I've heard plenty of rants when it comes to that bow.
Phalanx bobsled team. That's my clan. Check us out. We're on Xbox, and it's just a great group of people to play with. Talk about a family.
Yeah, for sure. All right. My number 1 is kind of a tag team off of what Blue said, but it's a different aspect of it. So this show has given us lots of opportunities too, not only to meet everybody and just kind of, like Blue was saying, normalize, quote unquote, being able to be a part of the content creation community and whatnot. It's also opened up our ability to meet people that we would fangirl about or fanboy about. And I had a major fangirl moment this Guardian Con, and Blue knows which one it is. I bet Potato can guess it too.
Morla? I was like, I didn't even have to. Morla?
Yeah,
That was
meeting
great.
devs in general, but like meeting Morla, Eris Morn I was so not smooth, guys. I was such a fangirl. I just buttoned up and let Potato talk because I was just in awe of this woman doing something that I was like, this is amazing. You are an amazing actress, and I am sitting next to you.
She's an absolute sweetheart, and
She is.
yeah, she's like a completely genuine person. She's an absolute sweetheart. And it was funny as you just said that. I immediately thought of that conversation we had about the red ball and
Yep.
throwing the red ball for the,
Oh,
for the
yeah.
exercises. And we did that tonight before we opened the haunt. I actually guided we brought everyone together and we did vocal warm-ups, and I got up there and did a couple of them, and that was one included. And I immediately thought of that moment in Florida, and I was like, "Oh my god!" And I was like, "Oh wait, I have to be on Focus Fire in 2 hours. We got to go." It's
right. And not even just Morla. Like we got to meet John Toe, the writer for
John was
Shax.
awesome.
John was amazing, and the one actually I got to spend the most time with and have the most amazing conversation with was actually Danny. And Danny
he was all over the place too.
He was, and I met him at the karaoke bar that now I'm forgetting his name. Why am I forgetting his name? Oh my gosh. He's all over the place on Twitter too.
Oh,
Wicked, I need your help.
Pino.
Pino
Pino.
Torius. Pino's the one who organized the karaoke night, which was an amazing night because not only did you have a bunch of Guardians showing up to sing and be goofy and drink together, you had a bunch of devs there too, and one of which was Danny Hollefreund. I'm not sure how to pronounce his last name, but he is at Sonic SONIKK71 on Twitter, and he was amazing. He sat down with myself and Wicked Jester's wife, and we talked Gambit. We talked the design. We talked about the computer, the coding behind it, and like I asked lots of questions about why does the game break frames? Like why are we having a frame rate drop?
Oh yeah, he sorry, I just got really excited. He talks about like how the actual mechanics of Gambit function, and like how the invasion mechanic only functions because everything is happening within the same instance, and that if it didn't, you'd have like a 10 to 20 second delay while the character loaded into the other team's instance. And I was like, I figured that was a thing, but like just hearing it from them and talking about like those frame rate drops and how he's like spent hours trying to figure out, where these drops are happening and how to address them. The dude was awesome. Like he was amazing. Yeah.
He was so much fun to talk to.
We had a long conversation in the bar after after the con down in the hotel bar. I just ran into pretty much all of the Bungie devs and just a bunch of content creators, and Danny was there, and Danny was awesome. And yeah, it was awesome. He was a really, really nice dude. And he was like, "Yeah, man, we'll see you next year." And I was like, "Cool."
Yeah.
Oh yeah, if you have any questions or something, hit me up on the Twitter. And I was like, "Oh, okay, yeah, sure." I was like, "Okay, that's kind of cool."
That's actually something I'm really grateful for when it comes to Bungie in general this last year, is that they have been way more interactive, like not just Cosmo and Deej and DMG. All the devs are being really interactive with the community on a much bigger scale, I think, this year than they were before. And I really appreciate it because now we're getting perspectives from not just the talking heads. I'm sorry to call Deej, DMG, and Cosmo that, but that's kind of what they are. They're the poster boys to be able to give official statements, but being able to talk to like Danny and Pino and all those guys and even Morla about all these different things. And they can't answer everything, but them being interactive with us, it's great. It's great to have that connection. But do we have any like also rans of top 3 moments from this last year, you guys?
Not
I just
for
loved
me.
watching. I just liked watching the universe evolve. Like, I know it's been kind of like a really weird, kind of slow story rollout, and like these 3 stories went in like 3 different directions.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like at this point, they've set the stage for the entire next act, which is what Shadowkeep is, the startup. And with the Vex invasion and everything that's coming next, it's like they said it. They've broken free of Activision. They're now on their own. They can go where they want, how they want, and they can change things as they please. And
Mhm.
not just story wise, but game mechanic and video game wise. They have that freedom, and I really think we're going to see the return of the Bungie we all knew and love when Halo 1, 2, and 3 were at their pinnacle. And I can, I really hope so, because Bungie is, I mean, this is turning into a praise Bungie thing, but they are they are creators that know what they want to put out. They know what they want to do, and now that they have the freedom to do it, they not that I'm saying that Activision was an oppressive force, but they were limited in what they were allowed to do. The sky's the limit for them, and I just can't wait to see what they do over the next year with Shadowkeep and the next couple of seasons.
Oh, yes. I think, what was it they said? Season 11 is the one you
Yes.
don't want to miss in the Vidoc.
Yeah.
Is that the third one? Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the third one.
So it's Season of the
Mhm.
Undying, and then I can't remember. We know what.
Season of the Deleted from what the board said.
Oh
The
god, yeah.
board of the
Fix the
Season of the
timeline.
Deleted.
God, man, the theories of that everyone has from that one thing.
Fix the timeline.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and I sent you one that I think it was GameSpot did, and I'm like, I really hope it's not this, but it was a well thought out theory about introduction of time travel, and it was an interesting theory. I don't like it because I don't like time travel because it messes up everything, but I see where they were going with it. But it's Season of the Undying. God, man, I know this. It's Season of the Undying, and then I can't remember what the other one was. But yeah, we know what the one after it. Season of Dawn. Thank you, Sentinel Grey.
Oh yeah.
So it's Season of the Undying, Season of Dawn, which is why we were talking on the DQLR, because Undying's going to be about the Vex, and then I made the comment like, oh, like Dawn, well, we have the House, I think it might be Return to the Fallen, basically, because you have the House of Dusk, and then what breaks after dusk is dawn, and all that. So yeah, and then we don't know what the one after that is, and I think that's the one that they said you don't want to miss, because I also think in the most recent Return to the Moon Vidoc, they made a comment about it's going to be like a trilogy, and that last one is going to be the wrap up or not the wrap up, but like the concluding act to the problem that is going to get introduced in this next season.
I mean, what was it that I can't think of his name. Luke Smith was talking about how they're going to make the story a continuous story, not just you having all these mini moments,
which is nice. And I mean, and I know, and I see both sides. Like, right, I see the downside. People are going to miss stuff. I mean, that's you're going to have a lot of FOMO, but that's part of life. Like, I mean, I hate it so harsh, but you can't have a game that is growing constantly but never changes. And I think that the way that they are proposing doing it, if they can pull it off, I really do see this being an endless model. As far as like development wise, because then this will allow them to just keep a rotating door, that's actually something that I am excited to see, just from a business standpoint, like regardless of interest in, because I don't always agree with the mechanics that they do.
Right. Yeah, that's fair.
But from a business standpoint and from a storytelling standpoint, I love it, because it means that there's always going to be something going on.
I will say this though, Luke Smith also made a kind of a throw off comment saying that they are sticking, and they're not sticking, but they are following a 5-year plan with this at this point, which if we remember back from D1, they planned Destiny to be a 10-year franchise.
Yeah. Which, I mean, I kind of took as, okay, they can stick with air quote Destiny 2 as the base foundation for at least 5 years. And then probably in 5 years, we'll probably see something. This is my understanding, but I kind of took that as, okay, that might be when we see a refreshing of the foundation into air quote again Destiny 3, if they do that.
They're embracing what they want to become, and they're, I'm really excited to see what they come up with. Just from interacting with the devs at Guardian Con, you can tell they love what they do, and they want to bring the best thing to the table. And I really hope they do, because this game, not just Destiny, but this game has brought me into a community, and I've made friends that I will call friends for the rest of my life because
Yes.
of this game. And people say you can't do that over the internet, and I say BS. But
All my best friends are on the internet. Just saying.
they don't judge me as much.
Well, we still judge you. We just laugh with it too.
Just silently judging, and then giggling at you behind your back.
I just got sent a picture, actually. I'm going to put it in our group chat. And it's from Guardian Con. It's from when we were in the hotel room. And just the happy faces and everything.
Yay. Pictures.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But yes, good times. All right. I'm going to wrap up top 3 with this bit. We have all the sentiment and all the emotions in this episode for you guys, as well as kind of our hopes for the future, which is a nice way to tie it off. So, hope you guys have a good week. Look forward to hearing from you guys as you play through Shadowkeep. Hit us up on Twitter. Let us know what you think. And remember, everybody loves a list. And done.
Woo.
Also, potty break. Be right back.
Okay.
Did I stop recording?
No.
Okay, good. Just because I didn't.
Oh, derp fails.
You know what? Might be a good idea to use that bathroom before we get this started here. I'm encased. I'm going to mute this mic.
Oh, hey, thanks, Duck. Sorry. Just taking care of something.
Hello, dissolute duck.
Ah, no.
It's a clever name. I like that. Wicked, I still think that Green's power was the one of the best commercials. I remember I was at work when they first played that, and I almost like died laughing. People were like, "You okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, no, I'm great.
I'm
Thank you.
fine.
I'm fine." Shoot, that's not as bad as when y'all did the read of the horse people. And I was
Justin killed everybody.
I was in the stairwell at the top of a hotel at work when I used to work for the hotel, and I'm in the stairwell, like holding my stomach. I'm trying not to laugh because it's like 11:30 at night, and I'm trying to not laugh. And I was just sitting on the staircase for like 10 minutes, just laughing. You will be beautiful, like a stylish lady. God, it's part of the year where I start finding facial makeup just all over my house and anything I touch. What did I miss, Pens? Oh, yeah, I did. I messaged someone, haven't heard anything back, and I need to I need to get to your audio, man. I really need to. I'm sorry. It's literally the opening of haunt season, and I had to do a makeup for some stuff today at work, and then I had to immediately go to the haunt. So I promise I will get a chance to listen to that. Somebody. This is what.
Do, 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 do.
Dernbus, I am not focused fire chat, but I can tell you my favorite bad commercial that got released. It is a
Oh
commercial.
no!
Sorry, I just saw this and every time someone either says mountaintop or shoots me with mountaintop, it reminds me of this commercial. And I want to see if I can find it, and I'm gonna have Blue put it in the chat because he can authorize such things.
Oh my god, I have been talking for like the last 5 minutes and totally had my mic muted the whole time.
Okay, here it is. Let me see if I can find this one right here. It is my favorite commercial of all freaking time. And it never got released because it never went out, but it's let me send it to Blue. It's in the private chat. You can scan it before if you'd like, man. There's nothing. It's just
That's
hilarious.
Yes, I remember this one.
Okay.
You know this? This is my favorite. And so every time someone goes, mountaintop, that's all I think about.
Oh no. Oh
There it is.
no. That's bad.
Oh, it's so good.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know.
Okay.
Are these real sponsor?
Yeah, bad
Here it is.
commercials that
Here it
I
is.
hate are the Sonic commercials with the two
Top.
guys.
Sorry. Oh my god, I can watch that other day. Oh, it's so good. Mountaintop.
Slightly.
Oh, it's such a good commercial.
What in the world are you guys talking about in chat?
I think Hurt Chain's talking about the dude hit in the chest with the dart,
But then I don't know. I don't even know what's going on. Blue, are you ready? That would make it makes way more sense why you were ignoring me, because I thought you were literally ignoring me. I asked like 3 times. I was like, all right, he's working on something. I'm ready when
Yes.
you're
Okay, cool.
ready.
Woot. Booping.
Get these markers in here. All right. Welcome to Focus Fire Chat, recorded live on September 27th, 2019, over on twitch.tv/FocusFireChat. As always, want to give a big shout out to our live chat here with us tonight. Thank you so much for joining us once again. This week's episode are going to be focused around exploring fallen leadership. This particular episode will serve as what we have come to call the intro session of the week's exploration. But before we go any further, let's run through a quick introduction of who we all have with us on the show. As always, this is your host, Blue Crew 86.
And this is the magnificent Koodalong, green-eyed music lover.
There, see, I know, I love that you're finally embracing it, Mick
I still
Koodalong.
don't know. I don't even know what a Koodalong is. I
It's
know
a
we went over it
bird.
last week,
It's a
but
I don't even know.
bird.
I don't even know how
Whatever.
to follow that.
It's a song. Okay, you know what? Anyways, and last but definitely not least, in the hot seat as guest co-host, we have our good friend Infested Potato. Potato, how are you doing?
Trying to figure out what a koodalong is, but I'm good.
Oh my gosh.
so is it
We're gonna
okay?
get
It's from
the
last week's
Australians all pissed
episode.
at us.
It's well, I've already pissed them off multiple times at this point when Dingo and just being able to not pronounce any of their stuff, which is ironic because they can't pronounce half of our stuff, but it's fine. It's whatever. We do the things. It's fine.
It's fine, whatever we do the things.
Is it Dingo and the baby?
That's
You're welcome.
So, usual introductory question for you next, Potato. Where can we find you on the internet?
You can catch me on Twitter and as at Infested Potato. I do have an Instagram, but it's not as well known. It's oh no, actually, I think I deleted that one. Never mind. Instagram doesn't exist. Yeah, mainly on Twitter, and you can find me on the Discord at Infested Potato. You can catch me in the Focus Fire or the general chat, or just message me direct.
also
It's,
YouTube. You do have a
Oh
YouTube
yeah, I do
channel.
actually have a YouTube channel now, don't I? My God, it's
Yeah, you
actually-
have
I'm
some
actually-
things on there that you've
I do have
made.
some things
You've
that I
made some things.
consistently forget about that I do. Yeah, I do have a YouTube channel. It's just called Infested Potato. Infested Potato. I did a couple of recent things. I published the lore book that you guys were so kind enough to put up in your guys' channel of Most Loyal, which is the story of Varric's post or Forsaken leading up to the prison break. I've done a fragment from Destiny 1, which is my all-time favorite one of Rasputin kind of locking down the solar system, getting ready to fight whatever's coming. And then I have recently released, let me see if I can pull it up here and just throw it up for if you guys want to throw it in there. It's a part 2 to a little video series that I did using the Avengers theme music to kind of recap the last year of Destiny leading up to Shadowkeep. And I did it for the release of D2 leading up to Forsaken. So the first year of D2 leading to Forsaken, and now the last year of Forsaken leading into Shadowkeep. Yeah, I mean, feel free to go check it out. Leave a comment if you like it and tell me what I can do better. You know, I'll try to keep putting those things. I do have some stuff in the works, some more Rasputin lore cards and a couple of smaller Fallen ones. And
Nice.
yeah, I do
Nice.
voice
Thank
stuff.
you, Potato.
I like voices.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And he's very
He does
good
a
at
really
them,
good
too.
fallen. Yeah, really good fallen voice.
Yeah,
really good. All
you-
sorts
I-
of voices.
When I asked what kind of topic we were for this one, I was like, hey, do we want to do like a recap of the Hive and Rasputin and the Moon? And you're like, no, the people kind of wanted to see a Fallen thing because they're like, your Fallen stuff. I'm like, at the time I was like, I just do voices really well. I don't know anything about the Fallen. That's like, well, that changed in the last couple of weeks though. I kind of did a lot of research and put a bunch of notes together. So I am hoping to meet the standards that the community hopefully holds for me.
Yeah, I think you will. All right, Potato. So speaking of the Fallen and how you were like, hey, I don't really know much about them. What is your favorite lore story from Destiny?
My favorite lore stories from Destiny, and God, it's so hard to pick because there's a lot of good story arcs, obviously. And I'm sure if the other times people have asked me this question, I've probably given different answers, but mainly it's Rasputin. I love Rasputin. Rasputin's my man. He's always been an interesting point to me. The thought of a sentient AI and things along those lines, and anything to do with him in like the pre-Golden Age, or excuse me, the Golden Age prior to the collapse, and just like what he's doing, and what he's thinking and where he's going with things, and just the war that he fought. That he tried to save humanity but realized he couldn't, and he made a decision to say, I have to save myself to be able to save whatever's left. And yeah, no, it's usually anything involving Rasputin and his ties with like Anna Bray and the Hive and stuff like that. It's the Hive.
Did you notice? I can't remember if it was in the Vidoc or if it was in the recent trailer release. I think it was in the Vidoc where they were explaining like the multiple seasons coming up and how they brought us back to Rasputin in one of those scenes because they were showing different images from the game. I'm glad that I'm hoping that that's a hint that's where we're going back to at some point during the next couple of seasons, and at least getting more of his story and what's going to happen with him, because there's so much open left.
That first time we heard him talk at the end of Warmind, it was like the beards, he does, he's talking about like you can hear him say the brays, you hear him say bray, because he doesn't know how to say it. It doesn't, I guess it doesn't translate to Russian, but like, hearing that, just that deep freaking electronic voice, and you're like this thing is unimaginably powerful, and I want to know more. I mean, and I try to emulate that in the card that I did. I can't obviously create the booming bass effect of that without blowing a few eardrums and you being actually able to understand what he's saying in the card. But hopefully I captured that.
Yeah.
And, kind of brings that to life.
Plus having some of the, I mean, you did a lot of that without having the voice modulation or anything like that. There was
Originally,
a bit of that, yeah.
I did drop I did drop, a couple of octaves on there because I cannot speak that low. I don't think
that would be amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I can get pretty deep, but I can't get that electronically deep, and add a couple of effects to it and turn it around and add some things to it. But I can happily say that everything I did with Varix and Fickrel and Skolas for you with Dust was all unedited, and it was all just me. So
He's Varix, your Varix voice. Anyway. So okay.
yes.
Now that we knew that Rasputin is your kind of thing, what got you into lore exploration and Destiny? Or when, I would say when, and like who or why or what got you started?
I actually got started with the Destiny Ghost Stories, and that was when Bungie did a community highlight on them, and I found their podcast and listened to them for a long for when they were still making episodes. I think they just restarted making episodes. X-Ray, I think, is still making stuff on and off.
They had an episode in July. I haven't seen
Yeah,
another one drop since, but
I was really happy to see them back, especially X-Ray and all them. It was really
and
cool to see.
Scoopy joined them, didn't he?
Yeah, I think so. I listened to the episode, but it's been a while since I listened to it. And then I found them, kind of like jumped into the lore, found Bife, found Mylan, and watched a couple of their videos. And I can't remember how I found Focus Fire. I don't remember exactly what it was. I remember it was the Discord. I actually discovered what Discord was, and which I was like, how have I not known about that? Which was a aha moment. And found them, joined the Discord, and I just kind of sat in the back of the Discord. Like I was like that kid in the back of the auditorium in the back, just kind of sitting there listening. And I was like, these guys know what they're talking about. And that was when Mel and Justin, and it was like the original crew with Mel, Justin, and Blue. And I was just sitting there, wow, these guys are awesome, and then they're like, hey, if you have some stuff, send them in. And that kind of built me into, writing some of those things that you guys, again, were nice enough to read live on the air. And yeah, I mean, the rest is just kind of history. I just kind of I dove head first into this. I hadn't dove into a lore like that since the Halo lore.
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh, I'm Penn's Halo, and another one of my kind,
My brother.
Yeah. And as they say, the rest is history.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so we talked lore. I know what class you play. We talked about it a little bit on the top 3, but that top 3 doesn't come out till Wednesday. This episode comes out Monday. So, hello, future people, by the way. For the people at home, what class do you primarily play? And why did you choose that? Because it shouldn't have been chosen, because the jump is so stupid.
Okay, I'll keep that in the back burner for later. No, I have always been and always will be at heart a warlock, and I've always enjoyed the thought of the warrior scholar, someone who can use their brain as well as their strength, and that kind of describes me. I've never been super athletic until the last it's going to be a stretch of a decade of my life. I've never really been that super athletic. And I've always been the nerd. I've always been, the dork. And I never really, I only started embracing that at a certain point in my life. And I realized I can do both. I can still be strong while at the same time be smart. And the warlock, while a lot of them seem very arrogant, I try to avoid that side of me. So I'd like to say that sometimes my mentality is more hunterish, but my actions are more warlocky. So it's kind of weird. But yeah, no, I proudly rep the warlock. I've always the trench coat inspiration from the
bathrobe.
Whatever.
Bathrobe.
Calm down. You guys wear towels as capes. Relax. But yeah, no, I've always loved that look. Like they said, oh yeah, I was inspired by the war and trench coats, and I was like, oh, I love that, or the dusters, and I was like, I've always loved that about just the aesthetic of. And don't get me wrong, I think hunters can look amazing, like the gunslinger hunters with the knives. I love that aesthetic, and I love that vision I love that idea of the lone gunman. I absolutely love that aesthetic, and that's why my wife has a hunter. She doesn't really play it too much, so I kind of do the playing, and she does the aesthetic choices. But I play as a 6-shooter hunter because I just love that aesthetic of the 6-shooter outlaw. That's always been a big thing. I've loved westerns. Always loved westerns. And the hunter is kind of that epitome that you get to put the the pistol or the hand cannon. You get to put it on your thigh. You don't wear it at your back and stuff like that. And just the cape and the throwing of the knives and things. It's just that's a lot of fun. And I can see why people love it. But at heart, I will always be a warlock and proud of it.
Yes, that's fine. We forgive you for it.
Yeah, you say that now until my bow finds your head.
We'll see, mister. I'll 1v1 you. I'm not afraid.
Come at me, bro.
I've been practicing with a sniper. Anyway, I actually don't have a crazy question for you because we had so many good stories and whatnot. So
yeah,
for those of you who are listening on Monday, look forward to top 3. Please listen to it because you're going to get all sorts of crazy stories from Guardian Con in that episode. So, Blue, I also didn't necessarily have.
I was about to say, I'm just going to hand it back to you. So
I'm just saying it for the folks at home. Did not have a community question of the week because I had guests in town and Green may have forgotten, but I do have this. And he is in chat currently and he might get a little embarrassed, but Black Flag did tweet at us this evening and said, which fallen will sit on the plasteel throne when it is all over? Varix of House Judgment, Mithrax of House Light, Aramis of House Devils. Personally, my money is on Tanix, for he has no house, kneels before no banner, and owes allegiance to no Kel. He is a murderer. So,
he is a murderer.
Who do we think is going to sit on the plasteel throne? We kind of discussed this in an earlier episode, and I was trying to figure out which episode it was.
Probably stolen intelligence.
Yeah, that makes that makes sense. But who do we think? If we want to put money on it, not necessarily like a lore thing, but if you want to put money on it, who would you put your money on to be the Game of Thrones winner?
Blue, go ahead.
Mithrax.
I gotta think.
Really? Because
if and we'll get into this with the advanced session too. But Mithrax has Mithrax has a really interesting history. He actually comes from a similar background to Taniks, and his exposure.
Ends way better.
Yeah, yeah, it does, and that's primarily because of his involvement with Sure.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
what I was gonna
yep,
say. It's like
yep.
Mithrax because he's friends with Xur.
Mhm.
Well, but the friendship that was forged with Sure between Mithrax and and in Varix, you see this in Varix's character as well, with his allegiance to what they refer to her as Marakel.
Mhm.
But like Mithrax has seen both sides of the conflict that the Fallen are currently involved with, right? Aramis is the Skolas of D2, really, is kind of how I view Aramis. Taniks, Taniks really is just there because Taniks is a mercenary who is really difficult to kill. Actually, is kind of impossible to kill. Taniks actually doesn't really do well with organization, so I don't see. To be fair, I don't even see Taniks questing for the throne. I don't see Taniks even as a competitor, because I don't know if Taniks actually cares. Taniks is perfectly happy doing exactly what Taniks is doing.
That's actually how I kind of feel about Spider.
Yeah. Yeah. Spider's the same. Spider has his niche, and he is, as long as you don't bug him, like as long as that's not threatened, he doesn't care.
He does like to acquire power. I will say
Oh,
that.
right.
That,
but he doesn't. He
for
has
sure.
his organization. Like he has his organization. He doesn't. And the thing about Spider, similar to Taniks, even similar to Varix in a way, is that they don't really. Well, Varix is kind of an oddity in this one, but they don't really seem to buy into the triumvirate of Fallen hierarchy. Like Spider definitely doesn't. Taniks obviously doesn't. Both of them have their own take. Taniks is the mercenary, the solo hunter. He's the gun for hire, and Spider is the one that has taken. We'll talk about this in the advanced session, but Spider is the one that has taken the human, what's kind of referred to as human mythology or human culture, and has turned it on its head in a way that allows him to profit and to thrive really within the Fallen culture. And it's very interesting looking at Spider as a leader, because you see a lot of parallels to our own underworld kingpins, and I think that's obviously by intent, but that's also my defense against why Spider and Taniks I don't think are interested in being the fabled Kell of Kells. Varix is trying to be, but honestly, I think Mithrax is going to be. If any of them are, I would think Mithrax, because he he transcends the Fallen, the Guardian, and the human. Like he's seen all three sides.
That I want to bring up, and this is kind of one of the things I wanted to bring up in just possibly the advanced episode as well, is the fact that at this point, yes, we're talking about how they kind of want to be the Kel, but they don't have the structure to be the traditional Kel at this point that we know of. There's no Prime. There's no Archon. They would have to find people to follow him to fill those roles if they're going to be part of the traditional Fallen hierarchy.
Right. And here's the thing is, there are, but they're just currently in competition with each other. Mithrax is a good Kel. Varix has already been an Archon in his past. So we have two of the arms of the triumvirate right there. Now the problem is
they would work together.
I think that Varix. I think both of them can be convinced that it would be the best in the best. If they can be convinced that it is actually in the best for the Fallen
interest,
I can totally see Mithrax and Varix working together, because we have not seen Mithrax or Varix in competition with each other directly.
We haven't even seen them talk to each other. Like, there's no connection between them, have we?
Varix mentions Mithrax in a conversation with Cade. So they know of each other. Well, Varix knows of Mithrax. We don't know if Mithrax, I would assume Mithrax knows of Varix. Because most of them... Oh, he does. He does.
He's a prior wolf, so yeah.
Yeah, or he's a devil, prior devil. Mithrax... Mithrax in Mithrax, the card, he refers to Varix. This is prior to his softening towards humanity. He refers to him as a flesh lover. So he actually originally had a very dim view of the House Judgment. Now, we don't know if that's changed similar, because Mithrax currently is running around with a fire team of a warlock and a hunter. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there is that as well. Mithrax already has, for the most part, support of the Guardians. It's not official, but
at least
with them, 0 Hour, the entire importance of 0 Hour, besides the meta of Outbreak Prime, the entire importance of 0 Hour is that it was a test by Mithrax and the two Guardians that are running with him for our Guardian, to see if our Guardian was trustworthy enough to be brought into the fold of their current team. That was the entire point of Outbreak Prime, of 0 Hour.
Can I just point out that he did almost nothing in 0 Hour? He killed one Dreg, and we moved on. We never.
He killed the end.
We see him at the end too.
He took out the end.
He showed up, waved his swords, and then went away.
Well, in the entry, he actually did more. Like in the entry,
I remember when we first saw, I was like, "Oh, cool, it's Mithrax." Never saw him the rest of the thing. I was like, "God, give me more with him. I like him." Yeah, I can agree with that, because I think Varix is desperately trying to hold the Fallen together, or hold the Elixni together, because he hates them. He wants to return to their traditions. He wants to maintain their old way of life, and I think he's going to have to let go of some of that. And I think he's going to see Mithrax, and he's going to say, okay, maybe this guy can actually lead. Because in Most Loyal, he says, nowhere else to go, no one else to be here. And he doesn't think that Mithrax, or he might not even know of him. Or you said he did know of him. Yeah, that's right. But he might not think.
Right, but I don't know. He might not. I mean, he's not. We don't know how current. Yeah, we don't know how current up. Because, I mean, again, remember, we are seeing only snippets of in-game presentation. So we don't know how current their knowledge is of each other. So they could be in competition with each other just simply because they don't know that the other has, flipped the alliance, so.
And from the sounds of it, it seems like Mithrax bringing other Elixni under his sway. I mean, not saying that he said he's founding as House of Light, and I'm not saying he has an army or anything like that. And I think a lot of the still in either the House of Dusk, or they're just completely houseless. They're living near the Shard in the EDZ. And I think this is that slow that they're going to start talking. I mean, they're hinting at this story the same way the Dredgen story and the Dredgen and Dwindler's Ridge story at D1, it finally came to a head in D2. But I think they're now pushing that story. It's starting to come to the light. We've seen missions with Mithrax. We've seen Varix's story. We've seen, like Doom for Zombie says, he has a catch. He's not alone. You can't man a capital ship alone. And that's what a catch is. A catch is a capital class ship, and those things are big. And so he's got somebody in there helping him. It's probably at least a couple of years, because they need the servitors, or at least a servitor to help them fly. The pilot servitors. But I think Blue might be right. We're going to see Mithrax kind of come as Kel of Kells, and then Varix is probably going to be his Archon or his right hand. Yeah, his right hand or something within that house. If not, they're going to go to whoever that's who's going to be in charge of it. Because I think Aramis is going to make a move against the city, and the city is going to evaporate him, and we'll never get either that, or he's going to get caught by what's left of the reef and get cryoed.
We will see. I
Well,
mean,
and if anything, Aramis might be she might be the uh, common enemy that drives Mithrax and Varix together.
Yeah, very much so. Because
Because
isn't Aramis is going after Siva? And
right, yeah, she's obsessed with Siva right now. And then you have Varix has already expressed his distaste of Siva with the whole Septicus Sepix perfected. And then Mithrax has a connection to Siva as well now with 0 Hour. So there's a underlying ground, and Siva seems to be a reoccurring theme whenever the Fallen get brought up. So that kind of is that thematically seems to be connected there. So I can see this being another what's it called, transmission issue, transmission crisis, where Aramis might release something either on purpose or inadvertently, and you could see an alliance between Varix, Mithrax, and the Guardians to put it down.
Oh, that would be interesting.
Because I see Aramis being used as that catalyst. The enemy of the enemy of my enemy brings them together.
Mm-hmm. There's a funny little story about the transmission event is when you finally figured out all of the little riddles, which I can proudly say I figured out all on my own.
Yay!
Yeah, that was fun. That whole big coded transmission that pops up is like the 103 thing. I went on to Destiny Rage Secrets on Reddit, and that place was alive trying to like sort it out, and it was really funny because there's this long list of people like going through binary and going through like decimals and freaking decadecimals. It's like that, and finally this one guy at the bottom of the thing goes, "He's on the farm in the basement, guys." It's just like they went through this whole thing, like trying to decode it, and I was sitting there. Common thing. I was kind of like help. I was trying to like be a part of this, and then some guy goes, "Yeah, he's in the basement of the farm, guys. We found him." It's like, "Oh, okay, cool." And then everyone just, it's like, damn it. Okay, but moving on. That was just a funny little side thing.
It's, exploration within the game, figuring things out before raid secrets. Although those guys are stinking fast with their stuff, but
oh yeah, those guys are incredible. I am in awe at some of the stuff that those guys do on there. I'm like, I never would have thought of looking at it at a 7-dimensional 4D analysis of this. Like, yeah, it was my second thing I tried. I'm like, what?
Okay, so here's what I want to do.
Okay.
I want to, once Blue's done with the housekeeping notes, I want to go into and talk about kind of the history of the Elixni here in the introduction to give people who may not know D1 lore just kind of a rundown, fairly brief considering how expansive it can be, of the different stuff in their history before we go into the advanced episode.
Yep, that's all my notes for the basic episode is basically the Fallen hierarchy.
Sweet. Blue?
Cool. All right, so let's run through standard housekeeping notes, and then we will jump right into that. And go, guys.
All right. So do we want to start all the way with the Whirlwind and what we learned about that as far as their history? Or how do you want to start this potato?
Well, I mean, if we're going to talk about the Fallen, I wouldn't go too deep into their history. We can, that might be into a little bit. Basically, they are an extraterrestrial race that came from an unknown point in the galaxy. They at one point were blessed by the Traveler. They called it the Great Machine, and they suffered a cataclysmic event similar to what we think is similar to our collapse. And the Traveler left them. They chased after it, kind of becoming more debauchery and more like piratey as they traveled. And eventually they formed into a hierarchy of different houses being like factions within their race. So if you wanted to look at it in a term of, different armies, or
it's
different
like feudals, like feudal
like
locations.
feuding lords. Yeah, feuding lords like medieval Europe. And so you start at the top. You have the very, very the houses. You have your Kel, which is pretty much your overall leader. It would be like your king. He is either king or queen, depending on if they're male or female, obviously. And they are in charge of everything. Most powerful. They have consumed the most ether, which is their life-sustaining substance. Ether more ether they take in, the bigger, the stronger they become. and being at the top of the hierarchy, they get the most ether. And then you have your servitor primes, which servitors are these machines that are basically worshipped by the fallen because the servitors create ether and they need ether to survive. So they started making it pretty much their religion. The servitors were viewed as holy objects. They're spherical in shape, so they're kind of playing off of.
They're also the pilots of their ships.
Yep, they're the pilots of their ships. They're technicians. They are, they do a lot of things. Anytime you see, and they're almost like they're cyber warfare. There's a lot
They're Russian nesting dolls.
Yeah, they're Russian nesting. Oh my god, I saw that. That was terrifying. And then you have your Archon priests, which are pretty much they are a talking vessel between the Kel and the servitor. The Kel talks to the Archon talks to the servitor, and he conveys his wishes to the servitor. And that's how the top of the houses or the top of the organization pretty much works. After you come through that, you go down to Baron or Baronesses, which are they're like they're not captains, but they're higher players within the houses. And they either are directly next to the Kel, the servitor primes, or just underneath it. They can pilot catches, they can command catches, which are their massive capital ships, or they can be in charge of a skiff crew. It kind of varies, and we haven't seen a ton of Baron or Baronesses. I think maybe we've only heard of 2 in Destiny 1. I think so far 1.
We killed one on the moon pretty early on
in the Hellmouth,
and then
Cade talked about one. I think was she just a captain or was she?
No, she was a Baroness.
She was a Baroness. Okay.
Yep.
And then we ran into one recently with Aramis, who's a Baroness herself.
Right.
Next
and
there
was within the Marade, there was a lot of Barons and Baronesses thrown around. So within the House of Wolves, that was kind of the whole thing with the Marade and Mara. So there were a lot of Barons and Baronesses that were going back and forth during that thing. But yeah.
Right. I can't keep track. There's 2. I looked up Barons and Baronesses. It was a small list.
I mean, we saw significantly more in D1 than we do in D2 at this point, but that's partially because we destroyed most of the houses in D1. It seems.
Yeah, the fallen are not. I'll get to that once I get to the bottom of this here. You have the captains, which are usually I call them teleporting McTeleport because they are awful. You're shooting them and then they just bounce around. Especially Taken captains. You might as well just stop shooting.
Taking captains throwing the darkness blight. That is the worst.
Fart bubbles of justice.
They fart bubbles of what? Of justice?
Yeah, they throw those out there like Captain America.
I'm sorry. So Shattered Throne, the captain.
Oh my god!
In the first section, when you're doing the labyrinth, essentially, it's just like right off to the left and up the hill. That guy is the boss of that first section. I don't care who you are. That one and the very last one that you have to kill because they're terrible.
And even untaken captains are annoying. They like to teleport, and then they shoot a grapnel launcher or freaking what is it, the cannon, and it's like I hate you so much.
Scorch cannons.
That's it. Yeah. Captains are, you can almost see them as they're low-ranking officers. They can command skiffs. They're in charge of a crew. In terms of our military, or at least the American military, they would be the essential, the pretty much a platoon or a platoon leader. I know captains, depending on where you are in our army, captain mean various different things, but a captain essentially there is a platoon leader. They are in charge of a group of 30 or 40, depending on how big their crew is, but they are the top dog. Next, you have Vandals / Marauders. Vandals, a little bit lower than captains, but they're higher than dregs, and they get a little bit more ether. They get a little bit more of the salvage and the scavenging, and they have wire rifles, which are the single most evil thing ever invented by the Fallen. If you ever want to shoot one, go shoot the Queenbreaker's bow. That is a wire rifle, essentially, and prior to its nerf, it was very, very good at taking people's heads off.
In Gambit, especially.
Oh yeah, I won't even lie. I use the heck out of that thing. And Marauders are kind of like stealth vandals. They like to stealthy. They use bladed weapons. Specifically, they like to sneak up and punch you in the face, and they like getting punched in the face, which is great. And then you have the dregs. Dregs are the lowest of the low. Exactly what their name says. A lot of times their arms have been like their adjacent arms, because Fallen have 4 arms. Those 2 of those arms have been docked or taken off mechanically or surgically or violently, and that is they're the lowest of the low. They can fight their way up higher standing, and that's how the Fallen hierarchy does. You fight and you earn your place to get more. Yes, Dissolute Duck, dregs equal. I 100% agree with that. And they fight their way, and that's how you raise yourself up through the hierarchy. Or you fight and fight and fight, or you steal more, you stab somebody in the back, whatever. That's their society. It's very piratey, very down and dirty, very outlawish, which kind of fits more to their name, the Fallen. Originally they were known as the sorry, go ahead.
It's like, can we talk about docking a tiny bit and why that is an important factor of Fallen? Because I mean, we talked about the dregs, and the dregs are obviously the lowest of the lows within the society. Before you get into like the non-fleshy ones, like the shanks and stuff like that. But docking is literally chopping off 2 of their arms, because Fallen are generally meant to have 4 arms, correct?
Yep. Correct. 4 arms, 2 legs. Horse people, spider people.
The way they can grow back their arms, that's because of the ether, right? And moving up through things.
Yeah,
moving up through the ranks.
Varix has arms. His arms were docked. I think that was after his betrayal, I can't remember how he lost his arms. I should know that.
There's prosthetics though. He has the Vex prosthetic lookalike type things.
Yeah, he can actually use those, because in Most Loyal he talks about crushing a shard of bone to dust with his mechanical hand. So those are usable. Yeah, but docking is kind of like a punishment, or it can be like pretty much a punishment or a dishonorable thing, or it's something to say you've lost standing. It's like it's pretty much you're now lower than a dreg. You're a docked dreg. You're even worse, or something like that. But I think all dregs have their arms docked.
Yes, they do.
Yeah, I'm not crazy. Sorry.
Yeah, because that's where docking caps come from.
I get ahead of myself.
Because they put the caps on the docking,
the docking caps.
holes, essentially.
And that stops them from growing back.
Didn't we collect those guys?
Yep.
At one point?
That's a patrol in EDZ.
We're collecting caps.
It's like bottle caps, but way grosser.
And finally, we have shanks. They are little mechanical drones, not really sentient or seem to play a role in the actual hierarchy. They're more like combat drones. They can have a sniper role. They can have a zappy McZap role. They can have an exploding role, where they just run up next to you and make you regret. If you ever been to which forge is it? In Bogozia Forge. Is it the Bogozia Forge in the EDZ. They are everywhere. And they also if you're using Risk Runner, they're really easy to get, because once they blow up, they give you electronic zap.
But they're kind of a pain in the butt in 0 hour when they have shields.
Yeah, they are. They are annoying to say the least.
But they really we don't have any sort of information on if they're really a part of anything. I mean, Saber 2 is about the most expansive information we ever got on any of those guys, and those were the giant ones. That's not even like the tiny little ones that we see flying around.
Yeah, they're combat drones.
Right. They really are. They're the pit bulls. They're described as like the pit bulls of the Fallen
flying
army.
war beast.
Well, right. And you would assume that then ties them into the Archons or the Splicers, because they are mechanical in nature, which is going to tie them also into like the Servitors. So it would make sense again that the Archons or the Splicers would be responsible for not just the upkeep, but also the generation of those particular pieces.
I also think the Spider Walker, the Spider Tanks, they have a little manufacturer that can produce them.
That's
true. That was and so that just brings us into the Spider Walker. They're heavy artillery tanks designed by the Fallen. They have 6 legs, 4, 8 legs. I can't remember. A bunch of legs that you can shoot at, and they seem to be 6. Thank you. They seem to be completely mechanical, not piloted by any sort of Fallen that we can tell due to the electronic brain that kind of comes out when it in that damage phase. It seems to be completely run by a computer or by some sort of programming. I can't confirm or deny that. That's just that's we've seen over the last 5 years of playing this game. They are known to be incredibly having traded shots with the guns of the city walls during the Battle of Twilight Gap and the Battle of Six Fronts. We've seen some of the guns on the walls. If you kind of walk around the tower right now, you can see some of those artillery pieces that are towards the walls. Those guys can apparently lob some shells because if you've seen the walls and you've seen those tanks, there's some pretty good distance. So if they're trading shots with the city walls, they can that shot pretty well. They can be multiple things. We've seen them with rocket launchers we've seen them with their cannons. We've seen them with flamethrowers. We've seen them the shooty arc things on top of them. They like to park them in elevators. Apparently, they like to park them inside of any sort of catch they can find because it seems to be a theme in Destiny of parking tanks inside of large spacecraft. Yeah,
They show up in a lot of weird places.
I love those things. I think they're really cool. I think they're a tank. I think they're very impractical, but I think they're really cool. It's a really cool.
Do you remember? You used to be able to do it a lot easier in D1, but the spider tank when you just write it.
Yep.
I still do that. Like in Berguzia, when we get to the boss, which is the spider tank, I will basically just be right next to the whole thing the whole time until the legs pop and the little brain thing gets exposed or the motherboard gets exposed and hop on top and just shotgun and risk runner or recluse, whatever I'm running, and just go to town up there.
Chaos Reach with Geomag stabilizers.
Yes.
Kamehameha, goodbye. It's just
Kamehameha dead.
Yep. I call that my little delete.
Yeah, I could see that.
And deleted. Now, but the Fallen are, I would say, on par, maybe a little bit farther than in terms of technology. At our current state, I wouldn't say I can't speak to the Golden Age, but I'd say at this time we are on par with them in terms of technology. Minus, I'd say some of their weaponry is probably a little bit more advanced, and maybe their computer or AI technologies are a little more advanced. But in terms of that, they were a lot stronger than us for a long time. We've been consistently at war with them since the Dark Age. They have not been doing so well since Saint 14 and our Guardian showed up. That's to say the least. And the fall of the houses kind of do that. Turning to the houses real quick. Like I said, the houses are kind of like factions of the feuding within the Fallen. Within the Fallen's race, I'll just go through the houses that we know of really fast, and I won't dive too deep into them. The Devils, House of Devils, which has pretty much been utterly annihilated with the exception of Aramis, who's trying to reform the House of Devils.
As far as we know.
As far as we know, that's from what we've gleaned. House of Winter, they have fallen. They have pretty much disbanded entirely, and they have fallen under House Dusk, which I'll get to in a second. You have House Rain, which was mentioned, but we've never seen anyone from it, and it was destroyed apparently during the wind or the cataclysm event that brought the Elixni away from when the Traveler left. House Judgment, Varix is the last known member alive of House Judgment, and they were kind of like party within the discussions, like what if the houses were having a disagreement, the House of Judgment would make sure that they follow the correct rules of like Elixni's their rules and their traditions and things. House of Kings, they were very, very powerful, and they were very, very secretive until their Kel was killed by Aldrin. The Kel's name was Krax, and Aldrin killed him, pretty much took control of the Kings. Kings have kind of scattered. The rest of the Kings have kind of scattered at this point and are now falling under House of Dusk. wolves. The wolves are either dead or imprisoned, or they're like Mithrax. They're kind of scattered. I did look it up, by the way. Mithrax was he was a prior
Was he a
house
wolf?
Yeah, he was a wolf.
Mm-hmm.
And we have House Light, which is Mithrax's house, which we talked about very briefly. You have I don't know if it was mentioned somewhere, House of Hope. I heard that somewhere. I don't know if it's an actual thing. It was mentioned somewhere. I don't remember who said it, but I remember House of Hope. And that might have been something that was similar to Mithrax's House of Light. I think it might have just been like a translation, or like they were just kind of comparing the two. House of Exile, if you were on the moon, D1, those are those guys who are trying to constantly invade the moon with the hive. House Dusk, which is the house we run into at the start of D2, or they were there at the beginning of D2. They were the culminating of all the prior houses coming together and just trying to survive. It was out of desperation that they cast all their other banners aside and everyone fell in House Dusk.
So, Potato, I think the whole thing with House of Hope was just another name that may have been brought up, but it's not an actual established house.
Yeah, I didn't think it was. I just heard it, so I wrote it down.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that covers most of the known houses that we have. They didn't really go into the organizations that have kind of popped up in the last 2 years, because the Fallen themselves are in a really bad spot. They are even closer to extinction, I'd say, than we are at this point, or than the city is at this point. You know, with the failing of the Siva crisis, with Varric's essentially blowing up the prison of elders and kind of claiming himself and saying, this is what we got to do, with the other Fallen and dregs that are living next to the Shard and the EDZ. The Fallen are not in a good spot, and there's little glints of hope for them in terms of like Varric's and Mithrax, but yeah, it's keeping it basic. They're not doing it. They're not in a good way.
And the thing that is good to mention is that houses come and go. That is something that we know.
Like political parties.
Right. And I mean, there's houses that were established that we've heard about, House of Stone, that we've never actually seen, or because as far as we know, they're not around at this point.
I did write them down. I couldn't really find much information on them, but House Stone does exist, but we really, really, really don't. It's almost like Deep Stone Crypt. Like, we know about it, but we don't know what it is or where.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, Fallen, if the Fallen are probably the closest in terms of like us races in the Destiny universe. Not in terms of like obviously their biology or anything like that, but in terms of backstory and
experiences.
Experiences. Yeah, thank you. Experiences of where they came from.
Mm-hmm.
And you can totally see why they wanted to kill us, because they thought the Great Machine or the Traveler was theirs. And I'm not saying it's okay that they did that, but I'm just saying that I kind of get where they were coming from. They were PO'd, they'd been living in space. They didn't know what they were doing. They devolved, or their society essentially collapsed in on itself. We were lucky enough that the Traveler kind of stayed and hung out, and we were able to build ourselves up underneath the protection of it. And I can understand why the Fallen were like, that should have been us. Why wasn't it us?
Yep. Okay, I'm going to do a quick rundown on what we have seen of them in the game real quick, like super cliff notes. So story-wise, we know about the Whirlwind. Potato talked about that earlier. That is when the Traveler essentially left the Fallen Society and their society collapsed. Then the next thing that we really see in lore is the Reef Wars, where you have the Moraid, and you see a bunch of the Fallen heading towards Earth, and the Awoken people basically do run an intervention to help take them out. And then because of that, Mara is able to become a sort of leader to them in some respects, not necessarily in the most gentle of ways, but she has Fallen that work for her in D1 when we first visit her. That is one of the very first moments that you have where you're like, you have two vandals next to you. What is going on, kind of thing. And you try to draw your gun and everyone, and Aldrin comes out sassy pants, and that whole thing happens. Fast forward.
I love that scene.
I know, I do too. Fast forward a while, we get to the transmission crisis and Siva crisis, where the Devil Splicers happen, and the devils get a hold of Siva, and we meet Axis, and we take out a bunch of bad guys. It's an interesting time. Iron Lords, I miss you. I love you. Please bring them back, Bungie, if you're listening. After that, we have to fast forward quite a bit because the next major thing is the Scorn evolution with the Barons that we face in Forsaken.
Ugh,
Yep.
those
But
guys.
throughout all of that, we were slowly taking out all the hierarchies of the Fallen, starting with the very first thing we fight, major thing we fight in Destiny 1, an Archon.
Devil Archon.
Mm-hmm.
That was like very first or was it the very first gameplay trailer too, wasn't it?
I think so.
That
It's
was
been a
where they
long
found-
time
they
since
found-
I've seen
They
it.
found the Thunderlord, and then the Archon came out of the wall, and you fought. Yeah, if I remember right. Good.
Yeah, the Archon comes out of the wall. I do remember that, but they do go back to that old trailer and that old imagery because we've seen that area a few different times, even in the Thunderlord mission. If you were only a
Yep.
Destiny 2 player and didn't play Destiny vanilla, we go through that same wall area in the Thunderlord mission, which is kind of a fun throwback for those of us from D1. But yeah, we went through and demolished a lot of different houses. Winter was one of them we took out. Devils we
Mhm.
took out. Who else did we? Kings eventually got taken out completely
They got
thanks to
taken out by
Aldrin.
Yeah. We have, I guess, Civics. I mean, he's kind of recent. He's the Spider's brother, and he was the guy responsible for raiding the Black Armor.
I forgot about
And
that one.
I forget who the servitor was, but he was like Megazord guy in in Sins of the Past. It was the servitor.
Right.
It was the servitor prime inside of the Megazord.
Right. The annoying raid where the hardest part of the raid is the Sparrow race.
I love that.
Yeah.
That was a fun part. Just run like hell. Just
Yes.
and doing it with the
Yippee.
mini sparrow's even cuter. It's really funny.
Oh, really? I've not tried it with the beep beep machine.
Oh my god, it's so
Meep,
tiny.
meep.
It's so funny.
Oh gosh, what is that thing even called? Like all I can think of is just like we're a giant guardian on it.
It looks amazing when you have a Titan with massive pauldrons on it. I couldn't stop laughing because my buddy main's a Titan. It's just like the most awkward looking thing. It looks like a 250-pound freaking like weightlifter sitting on a kid's tricycle is what it looks
Yes.
like. It's amazing.
Perfect. We need what is the group that does all the music videos? We need them to do like a sparrow oriented one. Yes.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Anyway.
They should bring back SRL and just make everyone ride mini
Yes. Those things are harder to drive. Their turn radius is different.
Yeah, but they're still fun.
They are. Anyway, Blue, I think that's a pretty decent introduction to the Fallen leadership and kind of the Fallen in general for our listeners.
I think so as well. So
Sweet.
I think you want to wrap it up with some shout outs. Let Potato lead shout outs.
Is Potato prepared for shoutouts?
Sure. He can
Cool.
fake it. He can fake it till he makes it. No, shout outs really at this part here for the folks that are sitting in chat or the folks that have talked with me in Discord and folks that have talked to me on Twitter or given me the follows, like the followers on Twitter. I was amazed. I got past 100 followers. I was like, you guys want to pay attention? That's okay. No, I really thank you to you guys. You guys have been a really great community that I can't praise you guys enough. And I said it in the top 3 too. Top 3 too. It's a good sentence.
Bum.
Yeah, it's a great sentence. It's like another family, it's this great community that has done amazingly for the gaming world, but for, St. Jude's and the kids, and that to me means so much that I could be a part of. and that I can collect these little collectible things, and I can make these jokes with people, and I can be that nerd that in everyday life people are like, oh, you kind of like that stuff. It's like, yeah, it's fascinating, it's fun. I know it's fake, but it's fun.
Mm-hmm.
They just don't get it. And so you guys are what makes it fun, and you guys are kind enough to let me come and ramble on the internets, and you guys are kind enough to go to my YouTubes or to my Twitters and read or listen to what I've written or spoken into a microphone with. And it just allows me to share that passion. And yeah, that's my shout out.
Nice.
Get all teary-eyed.
Don't cry yet. We haven't even gotten to the advanced episode. You'll make your makeup run. Which, shout out to Potato for after doing his opening night for the haunt, which, by the way, is like one of the first things I ever learned about Potato is that he does haunted houses, which means I'm never going to go to his haunted house because
You said you were talking about going.
I thought about it, but also just me and scary things. It just doesn't. It's just
Hide behind Julie, you'll be fine.
That's normal. I'm very small compared to my wife, but yeah. Shout out for you for kind of hurrying home and kicking everybody in the tail and making them move pretty quick to get through everything and make that a successful opening night for you guys, and still being in makeup while we're recording.
Yeah, I'm getting makeup all over my my mouse. I need to clean it now. Yeah, no, it was the opening night for us there, and they were nice enough. I kind of arranged it with my bosses to say, "Hey, I have this prior engagement that I committed to a couple months ago, and I can't just back out at the last minute. It's very rude." And I love coming on here, guys, and talk. And they totally understood. They understood the opening night. It wasn't going to be too hectic. They had a pretty good line, some people going through, but in the next couple of weeks, we are going to ramping up, and it is going to be a very good season.
Yay!
We're excited. Yeah, it's going to be brutal. It always is. These are the busiest 2 months of my year, and every Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I am getting my butt kicked every night until midnight. Some nights we don't get everyone through the house till 1, 2 in the morning sometimes. But our actors are amazing, our bosses are amazing, and I'm completely off topic.
That's
Back
okay.
to you, Green.
No,
Yeah.
it's good. It's just like it's a passion. It's one of the many passions, and it's nice that you're able to work with them to be able to come and join us and share a little bit of your knowledge with us.
Yeah, if anyone ever has any questions about the I've been doing it for quite a while. I've been a big haunted house person since I was old enough to throw a mask on and scare people off my front porch. I'm not Universal Studios level knowledgeable, but I can tell you how to run a really good haunt and tell you how to scare some people in a building with creepy stuff. So, yeah, feel free to reach out and talk to me. I love talking about that stuff.
Definitely. Blue, your turn.
Big shout out to Potato for taking the time out. And, like Green, like you said, really honestly, I know schedules are what schedules are. And it's always nice when those who are in control of those schedules are cognizant of other schedules. So, yeah.
Yeah. Don't expect to see me in chat for the next. So, not that I don't love you guys, but I am going to vanish.
No, you're good. We know.
In costumes. So.
Yes, definitely. All right, Blue.
All right.
How do we end this?
Until next time. Goodbye.
And do we want to add a description?
You're a description.
For what?
On the stream marker?
Oh, I'm going to.
Okay. 2:08.
Send me your whips.
Wait, what? No one's mentioned that yet. It's a whip squad.
I was just gonna say, that could be the tag, but no, it's fine.
No, yeah, I was tagging. I have a label in the Audacity file, so I was adding
Blue,
it there.
Did you make this graphic?
Yeah. Oh, yes. I'm supposed to give that to.
That's awesome, dude. Like that is seriously cool.
Which graphic?
The one on the banner.
Oh yeah, it's on the it's in Quartet channel.
It did.
I need
Was
to get
this
that to.
you or was this another artist?
No, that was me. I did.
Couple
I don't remember.
overlays.
I
Where
can't
did you
remember what I
get
did.
that Fallen Captain?
The Fallen Captain. That was Roderick. It's
That
one of
is
his. It was one of his
amazing. It's
renders,
beautiful.
and then I took. God damn it! Where did this go?
Thank
I
you, Razor.
took this image. Where is it? I don't remember which one it was.
I want to put that like as my background on my computer. It's
Yeah.
I always
Very
loved
pretty.
I always loved like the one last week from the Crucible stories with Shax
Mhm.
looking at the monitors. That's awesome. I love that.
Potato, did you see the GIF I made for tonight?
I did not. Is it in the chat?
1 second. I'll put it in chat for you to see. Blue also put the Elixir text.
Yeah. So that's.
Oh yeah, no, I did see that. That's awesome.
Yeah, so that's the render that I took, and then I took the bottom part, those quadrant, that 9 circle things, and I made a solid
mat.
Yeah, a solid mat out of that, and overlaid it, and then did basically a color blend between them all. Or
Yeah,
I shaded one. I took the render of the captain, made it purple. Took the matte of the circles, made it blue, and then did a blend of the 2 layers, which gives you the like that abstract look on the captain.
Yeah,
And then
I love the lighting on the captain's eyes.
Roderick's work is fucking phenomenal.
Actually, this kind of reminds me. Blue, I think you'd really appreciate this too, and I mean Green, obviously too. There's a channel on YouTube called the Corridor Crew, and they're a visual effects studio. I'll find their channel here. They're a visual effects studio, and they started doing the VFX artists react and stuntmen react.
Nice.
And and they've also done a few things where they did we fixed John Wick's gun effects. They did one where they made a Marvel because like the way Captain America like throws his shield, no way the guy just gets knocked out. Like that shield would cut him in half. So they redid some of the CGI where the dude just gets ripped in half by his shield.
Oh no.
Jesus.
It's
Right,
really
right.
funny.
Because it's like-
but it's really just more fun watching them do it. And then they have other ones where they took one of their guys and they have a Hollywood stuntman who's a friend of the thing, and they came in and they did like they set one of the VFX artists on fire, and like to run with the jet. It's a really cool channel. Let me pull up their channel here. They just did the most recent one is stuntmen react to bad and great Hollywood stunts. And they have they did their most recent VFX react was VFX artists react to Bollywood bad and great CGI. It's a really cool channel. That's really cool guys, and it really kind of expanded my knowledge on like what I'm looking at. And now when I kind of watch like movies a little bit more, I'm catching these like effects that I wasn't catching before. Like I'm like
Nice.
catching like these like these little trips in animation or something like that. And it also makes me really appreciate how much work these visual effects artists get into and how much work they really do just for like a 6-second shot, and there was one they were talking about with Chappie. If you've ever seen the movie Chappie, it's great. I love that film. The guy who played Chappie, who's an actor who's I can never remember names. I'm so bad. They actually had to completely digitally remove him from the movie or from the frame and every single frame of the movie and put Chappie in there, and then they as well as making his movements. Like they took out like whenever Chappie's arm went in front of an actor, they had to essentially remove that section of the actor, re-add the actor into it, and then animate around it. And they had to do that for every single frame of the movie or every single frame that Chappie was in. And it's like, you think there's probably an average of 60 frames a second in a 120-minute movie.
Yeah.
Or, it's like, holy crap. It really makes you appreciate the work that good visual effects artists can put in. And yeah, I put the channel in the group chat. But
Cool.
yeah, no, definitely check that out. It's really, really cool.
I'll be right back. Gotta go take care of something real quick.
Mhm.
Okay, I'm back. Okay, you guys. Where did you put the sticker? No, I didn't go check the car. I checked the bathroom. I checked the bedroom that you guys stayed in. What? God.
What the heck are you talking about?
Okay, so Wicked and Raz came and stayed for a couple days here, right? And they
Okay.
hung out. Raz made a bunch of Whip Squad stickers,
I'm already enjoying this story.
and I have the roll, but they're hinting like they actually stuck one somewhere, and I have no fucking clue where it would be. I haven't checked the car, and that is where they're kind of hinting it may be at. Is on my Mustang.
They probably didn't put anything there, and they're just
They're-
messing with your mind.
Probably they're that
Because that is
demented.
exactly what I would do.
Oh my god, I'm fucking hate you two. I checked the shower. I checked
Or they did put something, and you're gonna forget about it, and from
Just
now you're
random-
gonna open a cabinet and be like, "God damn it!" Just that's really funny.
jerks. I gave you my sacred lamb stew recipe. You did, and Julie ate the last bit of it tonight. Just saying, that was her dinner this evening.
Razor, can I have the recipe? I like making food.
It was very delicious.
I bet.
Very delicious.
I made a Mediterranean chicken thing the other night, and that was really
Nice.
Yeah, I'm getting a little more adventurous in the kitchen because I'm sick of basic stuff.
You know what? The most fun that Julie and I have ever had in the kitchen, as far as like cooking, was we did a chop challenge for Valentine's Day one year.
Okay.
It was so freaking fun because we bought each other's ingredients that we had to use and
that's
whatnot. Cool. And then we also kind of sort of timed it and whatnot. We had like 30 minutes to make things.
Mm-hmm.
It was a lot of fun. Julie was kind of a jerk though, because she bought a Cornish hen that was frozen. I'm like, I have 30 minutes to cook this shit. She's like,
Throw it in the water.
Yeah, I bought her regular chicken too, so it was fine.
I would love to do that with my wife and throw that, but the problem is in our apartment's kitchen doesn't fit 2 people. Well, it does. It's just you have to like be on top of that person when you're trying to do stuff.
Right.
And so like I just tell my wife, get out. Like I love you, but get out. And I do a lot more of the cooking than she does. She's a very avid baker, and she's very good at it. So when it's your birthday or Julie's birthday, let me know and I will have her send you a cake.
Aw, thanks.
I mean, if I tell her it's, for you guys, she'll be like, oh, okay. Yeah, no, she is she's great. And yeah, it's a really small apartment, really small kitchen. We're gonna be looking for a house here in the next couple of months.
Ooh, good luck.
Yeah, that's gonna be
it's a thing. Do you have a really good real estate agent?
We're working with a friend of ours in town. She's kind of I call her our mob boss because she has a person for everything.
Yes, those are the best kind of people.
Oh yeah, she's fantastic. I love her. But she introduced us with a friend. My mom's a real estate agent, so I have like the hookup on hookups. She's not a real estate agent out here where we are, but she knows people and she knows the right questions to ask. And that's the most beneficial part is because our market down here where we're at is volatile to say the least.
Yeah.
And it's growing rapidly, especially with the military bases. I mean, you've got 5 military installations within 20 miles of each other. And
Yikes.
You have what we call PCS permanent change of station, which is where there's houses coming in, there's houses going out like every day. It's all over the place. So
Yeah, the market
Yeah.
here is not. It's pretty crazy too.
yeah, I head up where you guys. You're north of Denver.
Yeah, we're in Boulder
Yeah.
County.
Okay, Boulder. Yeah, I keep hearing about that place called the Boulder Bubble.
Yep, it's
And
insane.
I bet I have an I think my friend, I think she's in Boulder. She moved to Fort Collins. I can't remember. I know I have one friend in Fort Collins who I didn't know lived out in Colorado until she's like, yeah, I'm down here with the reserve unit. I'm like, wait a minute, you're in Colorado? She goes, yeah. She goes, where are you? I go, Colorado. She's like, ah! So yeah, she's a sweetheart as well. But yeah, no, it's exciting times. Just super busy.
Black Flag. If I have to suffer with that image, you do too.
I clicked on that. Hang on, let me see this. I saw
Yeah.
that in Twitter. I was like,
Doom. Yeah, Doom's a jerk in the best way. All right, Blue, you back?
Yep.
I hear him
Yeah.
clicking around.
Click, 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 click.
Ugh.
Good to go.
I did.
I gotta get this makeup off my face. Oh my god.
Do you need to go or?
No, man. I'm fine. It's just it's
Baby
it's,
wipes.
It's cream makeup. It's gonna come, or it's not cream. It's freaking Ben Nye makeup. So it's a good quality
Oh,
makeup.
yeah, it's gonna take
And,
you a bit.
No, I mean I have some makeup wipes, and it'll come off in a heartbeat. And stuff like that. It's just I'm sitting there, and every time I scratch something, it comes back. I scratch something on my face, just black. Like damn it! It's just that time of year.
It's essentially grease makeup.
Oh yeah, my hands are permanently stained red and black from the beginning of September till the end of November, because that's
Yep.
how long it takes me to get all the shit off my hands. Ugh.
Ben or Kyle, Doom. Probably Kyle, because Kyle's the only one I've talked about on this show. Well, Kyle, you share some personality traits as my brother too, but hopefully you've never landed on a garden hoe.
Dude, I never got to say it was good to see you again at Guardian Comment. I know we bounced off of each other like 3 or 4 times in terms of just like seeing each other, but it was good to see you again, man.
All right, Blue, I'm ready when you are. Otherwise,
Alright.
I'm going to keep eating these corn puffs.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right. So here we go. Welcome to Focus Fire Chat, recorded live on September 27th, 2019, over on twitch.tv/FocusFireChat as we continue our discussion over fallen leadership. This particular episode will serve as what we have come to refer to as the advanced segment of the week's exploration, so congratulations to those who signed up for a deeper dive. Before we go any further, however, let's run through a quick introduction of who all we have with us on the show. As always, this is your host, Blue Crew 86.
And this is the Baroness with the Inheritrix of Nemesis, Green-Eyed Music Lover.
Also known as the Lore Madame.
Mm-hmm.
And last but
squad.
definitely... And last but definitely not least, in the hot seat as guest co-host, we have our good friend Infested Potato. Potato, how are you doing?
Good. I am good. I'm enjoying this new little like what is green thing. Introduces herself.
I got grief earlier because I didn't refer to her as the Lore Madam.
Oh, really? I didn't
Yeah.
notice that.
Mhm.
That's okay. I'd rather be Laura Madam than Laura Daddy, so.
Well, it was funny. I was in a another little chat with some like a voice actor project, and I think it was a Hex or Star.
Mhm.
They renamed me what is it? D Billy oh good lord, I'm forgetting names again. D Bradley Baker.
Nice.
They changed my name in the chat to I came back into the chat and I'm like, why am I typing is who's oh that's fun. I just kind of I was like, you guys are clever. So that was
Nice.
fun titles.
The Lord Daddy dating sim Black Flag. That is something that Anon Pig is in charge of. Go
What?
mess with him.
Oh, for those of you that don't know, D Bradley Baker was of Varric. And he was also the voice of the Gravemind.
Nice.
Yep. But enough with the chatter. I know everyone is
Mhm.
looking forward to diving into the discussion, so let's get right into it. Let's take a quick moment to chat about this week's Lost Lore. And this week, actually, I wanted to take some time to discuss some of the deeper connections about not just within not within the fallen leadership, but actually something that Potato actually brought up within the Last City. So I'm actually going to turn it over to Potato for this week's Lost Lore, since he brought it up. But he was curious about thoughts and ideas around burial practices of the Last City. So I'm going to let him kind of lead the meandering through this particular tangent for a bit.
I'm gonna try to keep it as short a tangent as I can, because it was just kind of a random thought I had yesterday. I was listening to the Crucible cast from last week, and they were talking about the immortality of the Guardians and things along those lines, and it kind of got me thinking. With the, I'm guessing it's general knowledge. I mean, we haven't have confirmation. Seen it with Pork Chop bringing Aldrin back to life, that a ghost may not have found their guardian yet because that person has not yet died. And if that is so, is that something that happens regularly within the city? We have all these stories of ghosts that have not yet found their guardian, or they haven't found him yet. They've been searching for centuries or decades or X amount of time. And sorry, train of thought. And so my thought process is, if that knowledge is known to the city's civilians, to the just the regular people of the city, how would that affect their religious beliefs, and how would that affect their uh how would that affect their burial practices? Because they talk about, if somebody dies, right, or say they're killed in combat, if that person has the possibility of coming back as a guardian, while they may forget their former life, are you just going to bury your loved one, or are you going to let the ghosts kind of go over them and see if that is their guardian, their chosen person? Now, if they, I know we say that the ghosts have picked people from the long dead, but we've seen that ghosts can, one, resurrect the recently dead via Aldrin, and that they can also bestow their gift upon someone which was the child in Ghost Stories, or the recently dead child in Ghost Stories. I retract that, not the recently
Confessions of Hope.
Confessions. Yeah, Confessions of Hope. That's it. Thank you. That was really sad. God, that was a sad one. But yeah, so I'm thinking, like, my thought process was, how would that affect it? Are they telling stories to their children, kind of some of today's like major religions, Christianity, Judeo-Christian things, Islamic things like that? Be good because one day when you die, you'll go to heaven, or go to hell, or something like that. Like, do the parents of the city, or do religious sects of the city say, you could be one of the chosen and not even know it, kind of thing, and how that would affect or shape their society? We've never really seen it, and we've never really dove into that. And that was just something that I thought about, and I thought it'd be really kind of cool to hear what other people thought about it as well, because we have this super huge city in front of us with a mix of all the cultures that are still left out of the collapse, with one common variable: the Guardians, the Ghosts, and the Traveler. And yeah, that's pretty much where I'm at with that one. I don't know what you guys think.
So I think we kind of see a little bit of that within the dodgeball card, actually with the Reyna, and she does like the Titan salute. Like, I think there is, and you see that with Stolen Intelligence too, right? Where we supposedly see snippets of Eris and what I think a lot of people assume is Asher playing together as kids within the Last City. I would say that humanity as a general practice is inseparable from religion. I'm going to make up a word, but basically like religiousizing things that are just beyond our understanding. It's a very common, thing. If you look in the past of just in reality, you can see that with like the conquistadors. With South America, that was a big component of that. I would be very surprised, especially with the history that we have from Jacob Hardy's, the Moon X cults and stuff like that. Right. So you already have the groundworks. You already have the groundwork for a religious religious worshiping of the traveler, whether for good or bad. You can debate on that all you want, but within those cults, that was during the Golden Age. That was during pre-Golden Age even. And so that was prior to the Guardians existing. So if you have those cults that are, coming into power, significant political power, significant power, and then you have the collapse, everything kind of goes to hell in a handbasket. But then you start finding, oh, wait, you can be literally resurrected and come back as, as a god.
Essentially.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it would be... I think it would be silly not to expect that to have some play in the burial practices, if nothing else, of civilians. Because I mean, you also have the last city is under a constant threat of attack, so they're going to be they're going to be trying to gather as many of these super soldiers as they can. That alone, whether that is to be you can have that do, because you see that, well, actually, you see that with Aldrin in that cutscene. He is laid out, and that's a common practice even today. Like, a wake is a very common practice. You have New Orleans, does a huge thing with wakes. The Irish have a huge cultural, there's a complete process for that. And there's interesting historical dives that you can go into for the purposes of wakes and all that. But the idea of laying a body out for X amount of days until they go through the formal actually interring of the corpse, that's something that humanity has done already. And so to me, I think it would be, I don't think it's far-fetched at all to incorporate that into a practice or a cultural practice. And I mean, like, I know chat's talking about like all the dangers and whatnot. I mean, to be honest, I don't think there's a lot of danger there. I think it's pragmatic.
I mean,
to me,
here's the problem. The problem I have with it, as far as, and this is not necessarily a lore thing. This is just like a semi-historical thing. When you have a lot of bodies hanging out, that depending on how long they leave it in the wake situation, right?
Correct. Well, and like, yeah, and to be fair, like a wake is usually like max like a week.
Right.
Like,
you still have to dispose of the body before, in some way, shape, or form, in order to keep the hygiene, essentially, or the keep the area from becoming festering and then disgusting.
Yeah, of course. And I think like the thing there you see is like, short of cremation, burial of a body is not going to deter a ghost. Like, and we know we know that cremation will ruin chances of resurrection because of another story from Ghost Stories, the Titan, the Titan that uses the War Beast as a weapon,
or the one that was going to get resurrected underneath the frickin' Cabal.
Yeah, that's the same
lander.
one. Yeah, it's the same one.
Oh yeah, right. Okay.
Because I think that's and then there's also, I think Cyril was another one. Who became, there were his own problems there. But like, I think there are certain practices that probably would go away because of the possibility, like, and I think, and there might be practice, to be on the flip side, there might be practices that are encouraged by certain subcults because they don't want their loved one coming back. I mean, there's a flip side there too.
Do you really think that the city civilians are really thinking about that on a fairly large scale? I mean, because you have them living their lives, and the Guardians are so apart intrinsically of their lives, but even though they're intrinsically a part of their lives, but they're also very separate.
Right.
They're the protectors. It's like the military. There's people in the military out there. You may not see a military member very often, though, but they're out there. They're protecting, they're doing the job, they're doing that, and they're there, but they don't affect your daily life necessarily and directly.
See, and I see what you're saying. My counter argument is in the same way that you can look at let's take ancient Greece. In the same way that you could say that the concept of a demigod was not a part of that person's, an average city, because obviously demigods were not existent. But the entire point of the story was to teach people to live to a certain expectation, right? Like the whole thing with Heracles is to teach people to strive to be honorable, to strive to be truthful. All this, to pay your dues as you incurred them. Not necessarily that incurring them was a bad thing, but you will incur dues, and you should pay them with honor and with truth. That was actually something that was strove for. Now, my point here is that in the same mythological sense, guardians are being put on a pedestal. We can argue whether or not that's deserved or not. I mean, I'm game for that. But the same thing is like, but instead of it being just a myth, you actually can arguably see one of these myths walking down the street. So again, I can see two sides of this coin. I can see one side of this coin being like they not worship, but they idolize these guardians, and the very possibility that someone, in like what Potato was saying, like, you live your life good and you might have a chance of coming back as a guardian. Even knowing that, whether or not they know fully the whole cause, whatever. But like that being the said, because we know that they do the same thing with Fallen. They use the Fallen as the boogeyman for the kids.
Yep.
And which that in and of itself is natural humanity. Like humanity has always done that. You look at the Grimm fairy tales, you look at any fairy tales at all. That's what that is. It's taking something we don't understand that we're terrified of, and we're using that to teach the younger generations. But with like the mythological sense, you actually have a physical component that you can see that being there. And, for all we know, there's a lot of guardians that this is exactly what did happen. Like we don't know. We don't know. We do know that technically, I think it was stated somewhere way back that technically there is an influx of guardians that kind of aligns with the idea of all the players in Destiny are kind of in canon present. They're not all necessarily the guardian, but there was an influx of guardians, and so this could be an explanation for that. Again, I would not be surprised to learn that there are practices undertaken in the city, and like hygiene and the health of the city and everything. Yes. But like, there's ways around that. I mean, even in today's world, we have these processes that are allowed to be done. We have wakes for various cultures, various reasons that, I mean, they just, in I think it was South Africa, they just got done taking the former president who died. And I mean, his body has been on it sounds weird, but it's been on a tour ever since he died, and he died like a month and a half ago. And they are just now getting to the part where they're going to be looking at interring him. Now, part of that was a political argument between the family and the government, but the point is like they are doing kind of exactly this over there right now in reality, and so.
Doom for Zombies tweeted at us, and it looks like text from, I want to say, this is from the Lost Cryptarch. So isn't this like the Thunderlord type quest?
Mm-hmm.
So in the quest, Ghost says, and he said, "Listen, don't worry about dying. Death isn't the end, not since the Traveler showed up," is one of the...
Yeah, and I mean, again, I go back to, we have Moon X cults, right? I mean... There's a lot of things that can be implied, and I think that this is admittedly one of them, that this would change the paradigm.
Blue, it keeps going. So that quote I started with, since the Traveler showed up, "You ever feel sad about your folks? You just wait for them to show up again as guardians. You just wait."
Oh, yeah.
I'm still waiting. So I mean,
maybe it has happened before. And Holiday was just, it's that hope of a young child hoping for their family, hoping for their mom to come back, who's, never going to walk through that door again. That's
Speaking,
reality.
I mean,
but
that's Savin, right? I mean, Savin is the prime example of the Awoken, the way they handle that.
yeah.
so
Yeah.
speaking of first reses type thing, what about the ghost card? And I'm going to redirect us a little bit back about the ghost that freaked out about possibly resing a fallen.
That's Savin.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He's
Dino,
like,
that-
oh no!
He's like, all right, fine, I'll do it. He gives the gift, and he
The
goes.
best part
goes,
is he
"Oh
does
my
he
God."
does laps around the house because he's like, I don't want to.
Mm-hmm.
He's thinking about it. He's like, he's like pacing outside the door.
And
A
then what
ghost
was it? Was
pacing.
it the other one? The other part of that was like he was like the vandal let a refrigerator fall on him or something. Like he's
Yeah.
like, oh
Mhm.
my god.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it was, I'm not trying to spark a religious war here, or anything along those lines. It's just, I was just curious I know humanity as a society, we evolve and we adapt to what's going on around us, and anything we don't understand, we like Blue said, we try to explain it away either with logic or with some sort of story or with some sort of, the old adage is, when that was told as a kid, when you hear thunder, that's angels bolting. And if there's so many to pick from. It's just, I'm just really curious. I really like Blue's take on it, and I like Green's as well. Just seeing it from that logical point of view, and then from that historical point of view, and yeah, it just fascinates me to think that hey, these people are seeing the dead rise, and they can't remember their former life, but they're seeing the dead rise essentially, and what that would do to a society as a whole, saying, hey, maybe you never know, or maybe you will come, maybe you'll just be, are people still becoming exos, or are all the exos that are alive right now strictly guardians or survivors of the collapse?
Yeah, I mean,
We found the technology from the Braves. We found
Right.
the technology of the exos. Anna's been all over that. She's shipping some of that back to the city. So
If
Yeah,
she's
and I
talking
think
with people in the city as much.
that's true. Yeah.
right, and I mean the other thing that I keep coming back to whenever we talk about stuff like this is like the Arthur C. Clarke quote. It's any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic.
Magic. Yeah, that's like the level 4 civilization.
Right. Yeah, and I mean it's in magic there is not necessarily, now Clarke was adamant about his views of religion, but like the thing is like Clarke is not saying magic like the supernatural arcane magic necessarily always. Like there's also divine magic that he attributes in a couple different of his talks. But like his point is like, if there is a point where, exactly what Potato is saying, like there's a point where, it is there is something going on, and if we can't wrap our head around it, we will find a logical, in our mind, a logical explanation. That's the curse of being a Gestalt based creature, is like you have to, you don't, if something doesn't make sense, your brain will make it make sense. It just might not make sense the way it actually, like, arbitrarily factually makes sense, if that logic follows. So your brain will connect dots and make an implication on the information that's coming to it, even if that information is obviously not complete. And that's where you get the idea of various world religions, various world mythologies, the fairy tales, all this stuff. It's not that they aren't true. It's that they are based in our brains trying to connect various points of our existence and make it make sense. And that's really what it is. Again, not that it's not true, but it maybe is not the whole picture.
No, yeah, and I totally see where you're coming from with that. And Dino, dude, you're like my hero, man, because you always correct me, like propose something, and you're like, and you get me, like, you're like, hey, actually, this is it. Thank you, my gaps in my knowledge, man. I really appreciate that. And that's not sarcasm or anything like that. I actually am really appreciative of that. But yeah, no, that plugs up a hole in the discussion point. He says that there are no more exos being made. The tech is lost. The current exo population is survivors from the golden age or guardians.
Right.
And so, yeah, that's real. That's actually really interesting.
So like Lakshmi and Banshee
Yeah,
are
yeah.
non-guardian exos that
Mhm.
are surviving.
and
Yeah.
that's
And Ada.
that's
And that's why
amazing.
Ada,
Ada, yeah.
Well, and that's where Ada's importance comes in, right? Because Ada is arguably a outlier of creation in that she was not constructed
Mhm.
in the same vein as the other exos. And so there is a potential there as a bridge for maybe something. But
yeah, it's just before we dive into this for the rest of the night.
yeah, no. It's
Yeah.
it's one of those things where it's like, again, I would love to have more information about the city.
Mhm.
I can see, chat was talking about it up there. Bungie might not want to get into it because, exactly kind of what we were talking about.
It covers that
It can
station.
get dicey really quickly, but at the
Mhm.
same time, I go back to, it's a dystopian world.
Right.
And we know that in the Golden Age, it was called out in D1 that in the Golden Age, things changed. Everything changed. Paradigms and philosophical biases were thrown out the window with new information. So, it's, I don't see how this... Right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
No, I guess we're just kind of all stopping and going, we can continue or we can talk.
So, Fallen?
Those
Blue?
guys.
Do we have any housekeeping notes before we get into that guy
No,
again?
we don't have any for this particular one. Other than be sure I have the poll that's going to be hitting Discord this weekend for next month's Extra Lore and next month's community topic. So just be sure to jump in and vote over on the Discord channel. If I can get a couple minutes, I will post it on Twitter as well, but no promises on that given my current scheduled when I'm not scheduled to be on the podcast. It will be in the Discord channel. I have that set up right. I set that up actually right before I jumped on for the podcast. But other than that, no. No, not really. I don't have any other than that.
Cool.
All right, let's do it. So back into the Fallen. How do we even do this one? Are we getting into specific names and talking about
I
them
was
with this one, or
thinking,
how did you
like,
want to do this one?
I was thinking to kind of tie into the stolen intelligence profiles.
Gotcha.
So we have the four names there, right? You have Mithrax, you have Ferrix, you have Aramis, and then Spider.
Yeah.
No, Fickrel.
Spider is kind of the
Spider's
no one's putting him up there in that same vein with the others. Well,
and so there is there is the thing of like the whole thing in the stolen intelligence is like it's a profile report on these four major figures. There are two separatists and two I think they're called, hang on, let me pull up my notes. They are called two separatists and two integrationists. The other fun thing here is that the person who wrote this report is RAN187. Keep wanting to call them Randy. Because
Shax?
Yeah, well, there's Shax. No, it's not Shax. It's the fire team member in Redrick's Claymore. And then we had the just announced pinnacle weapon is Randy's throwing knife. And so it's the only name that has RAN that has like anyways. So a couple notes, and this is the entry called Outliers. A couple notes here, and this is a report that is pretty recent. It's noted that refugee attacks are down by 70% across the entirety of the planet Earth. they cross-reference to another stolen intelligence report, and it's saying that House Dusk is splintering and radicalizing due to a lack of clear leadership, which is really relevant to actually tonight's topic. And the reason why is, quote, young fallen are appropriating and imitating human mythology in absence of a strong cultural heritage of their own, end quote. And the reason why I actually want to bring that up is that this is connected to the fears voiced by Varix prior to his departure from the Prison of Elders, is because when right before Varix did the whole thing with his whole thing on the I'm going to become the Kelekels thing, he made the comment that Fickrell and Mithrax are arguably some of the only left of, or no, Fickrell and the Baron of Kings were the only ones left from before, and the House of Kings had just been decimated by Uldren when Fickrell docked the Baron, or the Kell of Kings. When Fickrell and Uldren docked the Kell, they knocked him out. Like, they basically knocked him out of the running for anything. And so Varix was lamenting, because basically what that means is that all the knowledge prior to the prior to the whirlwind was effectively lost to the fallen. Mm-hmm. And so we see this within Outliers, that the reporting hidden is actually commenting on that. They're actually saying it seems like the fallen don't really know what's going on, and they are losing their cultural understanding of everything, and they are appropriating our culture. You know, again, we kind of mentioned this. Well, we kind of mentioned this with the spider, right? You know, he's taking on human culture. And so then he kind of comes up and he says, you know, hey, we have come too far to pull our punches now. So here are the 4 major threats that the Guardian writing this, or the Hidden that's writing this, is noticing. We have the 2 integrationists who are they're VIP 1121 and VIP 3987. 1121 is the code for Varix the Loyal, who is also referred to as the Kell of Kells, or the self-proclaimed Kell of Kells. 3987 is Mithrax, also known as the Kell of House Light. And then he also mentions the 2 separatists, which are VIP 4503 and 2029. 4503 is the code for Fickrell, also known as the Fanatic. And then 2029 is Aramis the Ship Stealer. And in opinion of RAN 187, Aramis is actually the primary threat. And this is the one in which the report is saying, basically, this is the person, or this is the fallen that we need to focus all the firepower on to knock out. Because Aramis is actively going after, we know that Aramis is going after Siva. She is also actively recruiting House Dusk and Disillusioned Fallen to become her own house, or her own version of House of Wolves. Yeah, so it's just an interesting thing there. And the interesting thing here also, or the curious thing for me, was that this is also where we see the complete acknowledgement of Fickrell as being basically able to cheat death, which we kind of see in game. But this is actually the explanation that this is actually what is happening. The only other character...
he also makes comments on it in the strike fairly often. Right,
yeah. And the reason why with that is the corrupted ether. That allows the Scorn to be the Scorn. But the point that I was going to say there is the only other character that we see that quite frequently with is Tannix. Now, and this is also, this like insert of a report is also why I don't view Tannix as really a contender for, you know, I think, what was it, the Plasteel Throne, I think is what they called it. I mean, that combined with the fact that, again, Tannix is really a lone wolf. Like, he has no interest, it seems, in actually organizing a house, because it doesn't profit for him. He's doing quite fine just by himself, being, you know, the executioner that he is.
I mean, we don't have any characters named Bran, so that's good.
No, I mean, that's how you get pushed out of a tower, right?
And eventually develop weird powers.
Ran 187 is going to get pushed off the tower, and then he's going to form.
Who's the twins then, or the
Oh,
siblings?
God.
Anyway,
I don't feel comfortable going down this road because I have an answer for you, and you're going to get mad at me. Anyway, so when we look at Mithrax has a really interesting history. Mithrax is actually currently running around with 2 guardians. We kind of mentioned this on the intro episode, right?
Mhm.
The Outlook Perfected entry actually says, or actually gives us a bit more detail. The first teaser, I guess you would say, to this fire team with Mithrax was actually in the Queenbreaker, which is where Mithrax was seen kind of opening up a hidden cave while 2 guardians were with him. We get a little bit more information. We still don't have the names for these 2 guardians. We know that there is a male hunter and a female warlock. And they are actually, this is actually, and I had mentioned this in the introductory session, this is actually where we learned the true intent of 0 Hour. Because these 2 guardians were actually really nervous about Mithrax doing what he was doing, and that was testing the faithfulness of our guardian. They were testing the waters to see if they could trust us to bring us into the fold of what they were doing, what they were actually doing. And this is also where you see that Mithrax actually does have a following. Mithrax has a very big following, because this is where you also see the crew that is piloting the skiff. And I think that was something you had mentioned, Potato, about like the capital ship being. It's not a single pilot thing.
Yeah, he's doing a just kind of a quick analysis of a catch. It's almost like, I would say, a battleship in terms of what, like a battleship / carrier / life support. It might be the last of what was from their home. And those ships are big. We've seen them in game. They've flown our heads a lot. Been on 1 or 2.
Mm-hmm.
They're not a small thing.
No, they are not. So anyways, the thing with Mithrax actually has a pretty, I mean, he's already got a pretty extensive story in game. We see with, I think it's...
the introduction was Jur.
Yes, and I'm trying to remember which one it is. I think it's Misax. I always mispronounce
It
this.
is, because that's what she called him.
Well, that's actually
That's
his
what she
name.
unders-
That's actually his name. She gives him the name.
Mithrax.
She gives him the name Mithrax. And I'm trying to pull that up, and
I'm doing the same thing.
Ishtar's being really bad about it.
It's being picky because you have to spell it.
I am spelling it. It's really interesting. I don't know why it's.
Someone spell Mithrax.
It's not. Well, they Mithrax.
No,
Yeah.
it's MIT. Yeah,
I don't know,
MIT.
like all of a sudden it's not. That's very interesting.
Is it in Awoken of the Reef? I'm trying to remember where it's at. Nope, it wouldn't be in that one. It's
I got it. Hang on.
Chat, save us.
It's
Mis-
MIS. Yeah, I don't know why it's not. So, anyways, it's Mithrax. Mithrax.
Wow,
So basically, this is the introduction of Mithrax. This is, I would argue, where Mithrax is born and Misrax is kind of put in the back, because Misrax is presented here. He is a vandal. He has been kidnapped by Shur and brought to the Dreaming City. And this is where you see Misrax as having a very, very strong antagonistic view of humanity and House Judgment in general. He says in the second quote, he says, whatever indignities she can muster are nothing compared to what he deserves. With his chin held high, he imagined shucking off his armor and laying all 4 of his arms in his captain's hands. His captain is his mother, and she will not dock him with a scythe. She will twist and tear his arms from his body like she is shucking a fine fat crab for dinner, and he will be glad of the slow sick cracks and crunches of his bones. He will be glad of the shame. Let him go limbless for the rest of his wasted life. Let the ether thirst shrivel him up like a Yusufy fig. And so, first off, a couple things here. You see that he was you see the true depravity, arguably, of the Fallen at this point, because this is, I mean, so his mother is his captain, so familial connection there. But his mother is also the one that will not dock him with a blade. She will literally rip his limbs from their joints. So there's no familial loyalty, I guess you would say. And you get a sense that that's kind of a sadistic creature there as well. And so you see this whole thing, and as you read through the entry, you see a connection being forged with Shur, and who will become later known as Mithrax. And the yeah, go for it.
One thing I want to point out, and it's not necessarily direct tangent from you, but you mentioned that Mithrax that we meet is a Vandal, right?
Yes.
In 0 Hour, Mithrax is a captain already.
Correct. I was getting to that.
Yeah. Sorry.
Because
skipping ahead.
No. Well, and I think that's my point too, because we get the connection here that this is Mithrax. Okay, so he's a Vandal here. When we first encounter Mithrax, it's on Titan. And it's the enemy of my enemy mission where you actually got to choose whether or not to kill him. And if you didn't kill him, you got access
the Fallen
to 0.
Transponder. Yeah.
So even then, he was a captain. He became a captain, I would argue, after he got here. Because also within you see so let me finish right here. Basically, Shur is trying to, I wouldn't necessarily say befriend, but to ally with Mithrax. Because basically at the end he's coming, so he basically sees that she doesn't have her bow strung, and so he tries to jump off a cliff to kill himself. And Shur, in true fashion, basically stops him. She catches him by the foot and pulls him back up. And it's so funny. She's like, all right. And she pats his shoulder and pulls him upright like a sack of pissax. It was just I love that Shur is like chiding him, like, no, it's okay. She takes a step back, brushing off her hands against the seat of her trousers. He glowers, the surliest pissac sack this side of the great machine, hating her horrible squared-off teeth and her blunt, stubby fingers. Let's try this again, shall we? Drawing 2 fractal knives from sheaths on her thighs, she makes a perfect Irilus bow before him. Thunderstruck, he sits up straight, stares. Not good? She asks, and tries again. Furious confusion takes him. This is some kind of trick, blasphemous mockery. Ifosix, he rumbles. She shakes her head. Nama. Sheathing one of her knives, she holds out her free hand with her fingers spread in supplication. He draws his chin toward his throat with the fresh betrayal, narrowing his secondary eyes. It speaks. Slowly, without breaking eye contact, she lays her other knife on the ground between them. The blade points towards her boot. He watches her every movement. How many secrets have the flesh lovers betrayed that this creature can make peace like a cringing Drek before his Kel? She taps 2 fingers against her cuirass. Sure, she says slowly, and then she points at him. Honor-bound, even as he simmers in scandal, he replies, Mithrax, Valask, Sirux. Mithrax, she repeats, and then grins. Valask, Mithrax, and welcome. Let's have a look about, shall we? So basically, what is occurring here is that there is a bridge being formed between these two. Now, and this is where I would argue that Mithrax actually gets kind of taught that, like, humanity, the Awoken, they're not opposed, and you see that later within the Queenbreaker entry. Sorry, I'm trying to see if Ishtar is going to cooperate with me this time. But like within the Tangled Web armor set, you also have him, Mithrax, saying, "Let them have the great machine; they deserve it." And then you have
kind of. I noticed that once you started real quick. That's off of Bad Reputation, isn't it?
Bad Reputation says here we can start over. Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like those almost might be like he's still trying to come to terms with what he wants to do. And he isn't sure. Let them have the great machine. They deserve it. Is maybe he's seeing the great machine as this kind of this evil, this thing that brought essentially destruction to his people, and that, people that own it are, warlike or destructive by nature kind of thing. I don't know. That was just that was a side thought that I had. Is he saying let them have it because they deserve it because they're more barbaric or more ridden than we are? I don't know.
Yeah, and it get hang on real quick. So no, that's not what I was looking for.
That's a really good card. What card was that you just read? Sorry, I
Which one?
missed that.
The Queen Breaker.
That's from Queen Breakers.
No,
It's the last.
sure is Miss Rex. Miss
Right, but
Rex.
you said we would fight for the Great Machine together.
Yeah, that's from the Queen Breaker, and I love that card.
Varus's Truth.
Okay, yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, he says wolves rebel, now wolves extinct. This where live mind things scatter must end. I will kill the mind open elixni. No spider tricks, no loyal lies. Varus's truths. We fight for great machine together. And Dino is, that's exactly where I kind of see Mithrax. He's
Yep.
done. He's done. He's tired and sick of all this like this never-ending eye for an eye BS, and he's wanting to move on. He's like, look,
Yeah.
the great machine makes the decisions the great machine makes. You have it. You deserve it. Whatever. This is where we can start over. And that's where he said, like spider tricks, no loyals lie. He's looking for truth. He's searching for a way to coexist, which again is where, and I mean, he says that here. He says, I will kill the mind open elixni. So the open-minded elixni, the ones who are truly still elixni, not the fallen, not the scorn, the devil splicers who have mutated themselves beyond all things. He's like, I will lead them. And that's where you kind of get the House of Light and all that. And you also see at the very beginning of the Queen Breaker, you see the reference that they are a fire team. It says 3 cloaked figures trek through a cave on a windswept asteroid. As they walk, they joke. They tell stories. They are a fire team. And so, and then like, the warlock and the hunter are like talking, and it's like the captain it's again, but he is explaining to the 2 guardians why the elixni, after the defeat of Cybele, why the wolves bowed to Mara. And he says that we've been breathe always love for honor. New promise not unmaken old. Wolves would have been followed Marakel forever if Skolas does not appear again. So he was explaining why the wolves bowed to Mara, but then arguably betrayed Mara because Skolas was their original Kel. As soon as Skolas reappeared, their new promise, their old promise that predated the new promise took hold.
Yep. It just makes me think, and I'm just trying to think. They've been hinting at this since, the first mission on Titan, or that mission on Titan where the enemy of enemy, like you said, like, had that chance. That captain just, if you didn't kill him, he salutes you, and then they disappears.
He gives you the generator, yeah.
This has been on Bungie's mind or the writer's mind for a while, and this story is finally starting to come to a head. And I don't know if we're going to see it in, the Shadowkeep. I doubt we're going to see Shadowkeep, but in the next coming seasons, I'm just really
season
of
Dawn.
Yeah, I really, really, really want to know this because again, there's that part of me that really wants to happen, but at the same time, that can be boring. But like I'm seeing all this now and kind of reading back on it. I'll take back what I said in that question thing. It's like, yeah, I absolutely think it might be just Mithrax. I don't think Varix is going to help him because it looks like he knows Varix. because when he just said in Queenbreakers, no more spider tricks or loyal lies. Varix the loyal. That's where and I know it's not capitalized in the sentence, but spider tricks isn't capitalized either. But spider tricks, there's only one character we know is the spider, and no loyal lies when we only know Varix. Varix as Varix the loyal. It sounds like he knows about Varix and he doesn't want a thing, like Dino said, he doesn't want a thing to do with it. He doesn't give a damn about the Elixni's old ways. He's like, we need to pull our head out of our fourth point of contact, and we need to start over, and we need to work with the people in this system. And maybe he's actually starting to go somewhere with it.
The thing that's interesting is that if you look at the timeline of when we got these two different missions, when we got the enemy of my enemy was with the release of D2. That was one of the very first adventures you could do. And then you have 0 Hour, which was last spring when this came out. It was a whole year and a half later, so they can play a patient game with this. It doesn't have to happen right away.
That's just me being impatient.
I know. And I think Blue may be onto something with Season of the Dawn. But I mean, Eris also says we become the thing that goes bump in the night in the trailers. So it's like, okay.
I love that line too.
Mm-hmm. Me too.
She delivered that line perfectly. That thing that goes bump in the night. Become that thing.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh. Yeah, it's Mithrax is probably the most interesting character in terms of fallen leadership at this point. He's got Varix, Varix is off doing something. High water from him since after the prison.
It's interesting whether or not there's
no mention of him.
Yeah. It's interesting whether or not we'll get another Civil War type situation with the Fallen. Because there's always infighting. That's how those factions work. That's how you get the feudal system with them anyway. They're constantly kind of battling for their own territory and whatnot. But if we see them bring up their own groups, their own colors, their own code, and who eventually becomes quote unquote Kell of Kells, which is kind of that always drive to be the prime of their groups, right? The king of it all. We don't know if they can even unite anybody at this point. They have to first gather their own groups, and then they have to create a situation where it will unite them all, either through might or through coercion of some sort.
Mm-hmm. Well, like you were saying too, the Civil War is always kind of that big thing. It seems to be with the Fallen. Aramis, she's a player, but I don't think she's as powerful as they're making her out to be. I think she's a threat, but I think she's so focused on like rebuilding House of Devils that it might come down to the new progressive thinking of Mithrax versus the old loyalist version thinking of Varix.
Well, think about how the Fallen have always kind of their modus operandi, where they're going for tech, right? That's their big thing that they keep going for. And if 3-point war, Blue, I get you on that one. Mm-hmm. If we have Aramis getting Siva tech, that brings a reason for Siva to come back into play in the game. Then you have Varix, who has basically shown himself in some respects to be kind of a coward in many Fallen eyes. He has to convince people to follow him. Yeah. So he's going to do it probably through politics, which is what that whole House Judgment was anyway. Then you have Mithrax, who's basically pulling Guardians, the most powerful thing that he can think of in the universe, to his side. Fickrel having undead.
Yeah, that's a thing.
Mm-hmm.
God, these things are annoying. No, I see what you're saying, and I disagree though that I get that he's like teaming up with the Guardians, but I don't think he's trying to bring them to his banner. I think he's more trying to unite the banners. And
Well,
like
that's the thing. It's like get somebody to fight with you.
But and you're right. He's getting the most powerful thing he can find. But at the same time, it's not like he's saying, "Oh, only Guardians are allowed here." He's trying to bring, both these. He's trying to end essentially the fighting between
Hmm.
the Fallen and humanity. Fight for the
Which
great machine. We fight for the great machine together.
which we started that path anyway because of Petra and Forsaken, basically, and Spiders troops, essentially the Hitchhogs, the Hitchhog Vandals.
I don't know
Sonics?
who designed that, but
Yes.
that's an interesting design.
I was really sad that none of them curled up in a ball and spun.
No, I wanted the servitor should have done that.
Yeah, like
or if the servitor died, there's just this massive shrapnel explosion that just impales everything around it.
I just want to put a tiny hat on them.
Like just Dead Space style. It's just
Oh God!
Oh my God! What was that?
Just want a tiny hat to put on top of the Vandal's head.
But I think to go back to the competition there too, you see and like you kind of read what I typed. Bungie does like a 3-point war, and I mean even if you consider Fickrel, it's kind of a 4-point war. But I don't really consider Fickrel, mostly because whatever. I have my own very convoluted opinion about Fickrel, but like Aramis is closely aligned with Devils. The last people that we kind of encountered with Devils were the Splicers, the Devil Splicers. Yeah. And I think you're right. It gives an excuse to bring back Siva, but you also see a adherence to the old attitude towards the xenophobia of the Fallen, but using progressive means to fight. So that's one path, old thought process, new weapons. Then you have Varix, who's just wanting to cling to the old ways. It's the traditionalist, the old, get off my lawn. This is what it's about, the strength of the dregs, all that nonsense. And then you have Mithrax, who's also just kind of like he's kind of like a combination of the two. He's like, look, the old ways are no longer viable because they don't that's not, it doesn't work. It doesn't work in today's world. Our world is, yeah, exactly. We are not in the world in which the old ways worked. But at the same time, he is adopting Varix's kind of the strength of the drag-esque openness to non-xenophobic opinions, which is where Devils and like a lot of the Fallen have always really struggled. Humanity has its own issues with xenophobia. Humanity has its own issues with xenophobia.
Yes.
Fallen also do as well. I mean, there's a long blood war that has been going on between the two species, and that's a steep incline to climb. But what we see with Mithrax is that if both sides are willing to put aside the differences for just a little bit, there is some common ground that can be found with them. I mean, we saw that with Varix. Now, Varix also, in the same way that Aramis wants to stick to the old ways, it seems, Varix wants to stick to the old ways, but Varix is wanting to ally and stick to the old ways. Aramis is just wanting to stick to the old ways, but not ally. Mithrax is kind of just being like, no, I want to ally, but I want to learn from the world that we exist in now.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. And I was reading your in the private chat, and Green, thank you for all of that. Yeah, that's fantastic. And now I really want a hedgehog. Oh my God, so cute. That is okay. I got to take that off the screen. I'm going to stare at that for a while. No, that's great. For those of you that can't see the private chat of the thing, Green put up a bunch of cute photos of hedgehog with tiny hats. It is very cute. One has a little poof hat with a little poof on top of it. Looks like he's lost and he has no house.
Yeah, because he's a sorting hat.
He has no house.
Appropriate.
No, that's great. But yeah, no, it's I can see where Blue's coming from with them setting up a 3-way war, and that could be the entire season of Dawn. We don't know. and then green, and then it's the three ideologies. It's really what it is. It's just three. It's three ideologies. One completely different than the other two, and one that's, hey, I still want things to be the same, but I'm not willing to exterminate you for it, and we can work together. And then you have the people that are very obsessed with exterminating everything that is not them. So yeah, it's that what I guess a trichotomy. I guess not I don't know what the word would be.
Yeah, it's like a
Trifecta?
trifecta.
Yeah, that trifecta is almost a powder keg.
Oh yeah. I mean,
it's a perfect powder keg. I mean, one person does one thing, it causes the other two to react. And if you want to use historical references, go look at World War One. And
that's exactly where my brain was. Yeah.
Yeah, with the Archduke Franz Ferdinand, he got taken out, and a bunch of treaties took into play. And if one person moves against the other, and all of a sudden you have an entire solar system.
There's a 3-letter acronym for that. MAD.
Mutually assured destruction. Unless I'm wrong. That's what.
No, that's it.
Okay.
Everybody's mad.
We're all going with the mad, yeah. Which is honestly scary, because I was I don't know, I thought about this, but I was playing Mayhem the other day, and fun game mode, by the way, absolutely fantastic. That's not sarcasm. I was having a blast. And Shaq says something in the beginning of it that honestly scared the ever living out of me. It says this is a simulation of all out open war.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, that is there's 12 Guardians in one arena. It sounds like Armageddon with all the supers going off. All out open war. I can't imagine what the battle, but a fallen war between the Guardians, like an all out, like Siva, Varix, Mithrax, and all that. That's a scary thought. Like all out open war. I just can't imagine what that would look like in game, or if you can just use your imagination and think about the scale of what that would look like. I mean, it would make the battle over Saturn look like nothing, in my opinion. At least on the ground. I mean, unless a Guardian can throw a Nova bomb in space, which that's a whole nother conversation entirely. But
I mean, we have the last time we saw a bunch of Guardians together fighting that all had their light was in the trailer for D2.
Yeah.
I mean, we really didn't see a whole lot of that since then, because the Red War cutscenes, nobody had their light except for us.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's all out war to a point, because like you said, the light went away at one point. But before that, it sounded like Guardians were fighting back pretty brutally.
Mm-hmm.
And Disluted Duck said it would look like Twilight Gap. It's like, I mean, Twilight Gap was, while it was devastating, if the wolves had been there, it would have been even.
Well,
this is. Go ahead. Sorry.
I mean, with Twilight Gap, isn't that where Shax's team made their their stand?
They made their charge.
So I mean, that wasn't even a ton of Guardians. A lot of the Guardians pulled back on orders of was it Saladin at the time?
Yep. And he took his team, and he made essentially a counterattack, which is a genius on it. Honestly, tactically, it's a genius idea. If your enemies in Ray, hit them where they're weakest. But and Disluted Duck said, yeah, it would be like Twilight Gap, and I honestly think it would be bigger than that. I think it would be bigger than Red War. Yeah, the Cabal brought down the hammer on us, but
Battle of Six Fronts.
Yeah, Battle of Six Fronts, even, and that kind of conflict, it's literally a fight to the death at that point. And I know I kind of get dramatic with some of these things, but that's like that's the world of Destiny. It's it's dramatic highs and dramatic lows. And yeah, I mean, like I keep saying, Bungie is always moving us towards something, some sort of narrative, like, climax of a certain storyline. And I think the Fallen are getting towards their narrative climax here, where that's going to affect how they interact with humanity. And I know some people have said it, but possibly Guardian Fallen or Guardian Elixir at some point, maybe, but that'd probably be like D3 or something. I would remake one of my Guardians to make a Fallen Guardian. Absolutely.
Would you?
Oh yeah. There's a Titan I never play with.
So there's a. So a lot of our focus has been on Mithrax, mainly because he's been the one we've gotten the most updated information on. I think Varix has been pretty MIA, except for a few lore entries now and then. But even then, it's just like, what are you doing, dude? Do we want to kind of wrap up? Because Fickrel, we know where Fickrel's at. Aramis is.
I mean, we don't have much on Aramis besides that she's a devil. She's an old devil that really wants to rebuild House Devils, and
She's
wants
wanting to
Siva,
find Siva.
which, I mean, I don't blame her for. She saw how powerful it made them. It almost made them unstoppable until we kicked the spider, whatever his name was, Axis, in the teeth.
Mhm. Not the spider.
Or spider. He was a spider guy, wasn't he? He built his.
Yeah, his body. He was not. He was weird. So that's an Outliers with Aramis.
Yep, and Outbreak
Blue?
perfected. Aramis,
Mhm.
Aramis really. I mean, you're right. Aramis is. We know that she is a ship. She's a ship thief. Hence the name. Let me see real quick.
Can she create a directive for Siva that would give her the power for that Devils had, but without having the runaway that Devils had a problem with?
Well, I mean, there's a long answer to that and a short answer to that. Short answer is maybe. Long answer is probably. And the reason why I kind of say that is that, so she is known as the ship stealer, and with the Kel, like that implies that she would hijack ships, which does imply a degree of technical know-how. Now, the other thing with the fallen ships is, like Potato has said, again, you have a lot of servitors involved in piloting these ships. So again, you have a degree of AI already installed there. So it also, it's maybe because I don't know if they can cross-reference the logic between a servitor and with Siva. We've seen them integrate Siva with a servitor, but I don't know. It just depends on what Aramis is actually doing. It's like the logic to control Siva is really not super difficult. It's just you have to give it an escape path, and that's really what the splicers didn't do.
Yeah, they didn't.
They made it circular logic, which is why it kind of went rampant the way it did. And so, again, she's trying to, her big thing really, and this is from Outliers. It says, once known personality known as Aramis, or Aramis the Ship Stealer, a House Devil's Baroness incarcerated during the Wolf Wars. She successfully fled the Prison of Elders during the mass escape orchestrated by Varix. Aramis is a classical fallen pirate of the old ways, vicious, uncompromising, and possessing cunning of the highest degree. Field reports indicate that she is rallying violent dissidents to reconstruct House Devils from the ground up. This agent believes her to be the most viable candidate for universal fall and reunification, and would urge the Vanguard and other interested leadership to aggressively prioritize her destruction. So I mean, and that's really the big there. Yeah, and then oh yeah, Dino's talking about. Sorry, I thought you were talking about something. No, you're fine. I saw a block. I saw a block of text flying. Yeah, so Aramis again, the primary thing with Outbreak Perfected is that Aramis was trying basically to steal tech. Really, it just happened. I keep going back and forth because I don't know if it's necessarily Siva that she's obsessed with, or if she's just trying to get weapons, and Siva just happens to be where she's hitting.
I mean, if she shows up on Nessus, we'll find out.
Right. Yeah. I mean, like
Yeah.
right now we have one instance with her. And so I hesitate to make a full pattern. It does seem like, and the reason I kind of feel like that might be okay is because, again, devils, the big thing with the devils was the splicers. And so like, I don't know, like Aramis is going to be, of the separatist, Aramis is going to be the threat. Definitely. Fickrel, he's annoying, but to be blunt, we kind of have him in control. Like, oh, he can keep coming back. Guess what? We have an army of people who can do that exact same trick. To kind of make a light, very grossly oversimplification of the situation. Aramis,
as long as he can't create more scorn.
Well, he can, but we just blow him up.
Meh.
Right? I mean, how many screeb is it going to take before he realizes that they just take one? It's I don't know. To me, Fickrel is a threat. Like, definitely, don't get me wrong. Fickrel is a threat, but he's not an unknown variable. We kind of know what Fickrel's damage is. Like, he's just like, he's a known variable. Aramis is a new variable that is unknown, and that means that the tangent that she's on, we don't know where damage is going to come from.
The other thing is without the stolen intelligence card, is Fickrel actually going towards wanting to be a leader? Because he had Aldrin.
Right. And that's the other thing that I kind of dismiss. That's actually tying into my reason why I dismiss Fickrel. Because Fickrel is... He, to be blunt, I view Fickrel as a undead version of Tannix. He's just, I don't see, I mean, his biggest thing is that they are concerned, in Outliers, their biggest concern with Fickrel is that they are acknowledging that the body of Uldren Sov is missing, and so they are thinking that he is responsible for the reclamation of that body, which points to the fact that the city doesn't know that Uldren is resurrected. But it also says that this is the reason Fickrel is kind of on their radar, is because they do know that Uldren's body is missing, and Fickrel has a propensity for resurrection. So they're like, oh no, and he's also obsessed with Uldren, because he refers to him as the Awoken Father. So, like, they're just connecting dots with the information that they have, and that leads them to the realization that, okay, well, Fickrel might be caught, and Uldren would be a problem if he's resurrected again via Fickrel's corrupted ether, which is going to be a fascinatingly fun conversation to watch when Uldren shows up as a guardian, which I think everyone universally has agreed that they all want to be a wallflower on that particular thing.
That's going to be I mean, we thought a Fallen and Guardian fight would look bad.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. No.
I think somebody said it best once on the show. There's going to be a line of people that are just like, can we just keep kicking him off the wall and his ghost can bring back? And then, just everyone just lines up, makes a nice big line.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Whatever.
Yeah.
The best one that I've seen is the webcomic where I think it's Ikora is trying to talk Zavala down from the ledge of like just wrecking him.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think Zavala would actually try to wreck him though?
No, I don't. But that's why I love the webcomic, is because it's like, oh, that's funny. Like, to think that I think Zavala has more control. Like, I think Zavala has more control. Too. He might walk away, but I think
he might be angry, but he's not going to kick off a new guardian, especially if the new guardian doesn't realize what their past was.
And that's the thing, right? Is like that's my argument against the whole thing. The anti-Uldren is, it's not Uldren. Like, you guys can be mad at Uldren, and I understand that. Don't agree with it. I understand it, but at the end of the day, everyone gets a clean slate. We have everyone gets a clean slate when they're brought back.
Well, we're also assuming too that, I mean, where he is, it looks like he's in the Dreaming City, or at least he's somewhere in the when he's brought back. Right. And he might come back and not know who he is. Yeah, that's fine. but there is so much more around him, almost like, Anna Bray had her little name tag thing when she was resurrected. He's got his entire
Yeah, and that could
people.
be the reason why no one knows where he is because he's like, oh.
Yeah, and so he's back to life, and he might have he has way more of a chance of seeing his old life, or not remembering it, but having clues to what he did in his old life than any other Guardian in history.
Zaval's gonna retire when he sees Ultron.
Yeah.
I'm done.
I'm out. I'm out.
He's just gonna jump off the wall. It's like, nah, I'm done. Don't res me, Ghost. And if you res me, I'm jumping again. But yeah, it's not Aldrin, but he has all the opportunities in the world or in the solar system to remember, or at least see what he had done before. And he has zero allegiance to the city. Every Guardian has zero allegiance to the city. It's only what our Ghost has told us. Oh yeah, hey, by the way, there's this place where all of us get together and we fight back against the enemies of humanity. And, what if he's on his way to the city and all of a sudden he sees this picture, Aldrin wanted, or Aldrin killed, murderer killed, and it's him. I know I'm just throwing spin foil out there, but his face is somewhere in the system that, he's a murderer, or he was killed, or not. Oh, actually, no, not that he was killed, but that he was, still dead, or, they mourn him, or there's something up there of a picture of him being mourned, So he's dead.
Gosh.
Why am I? Yeah. Because remember what Petra said. To the fallen, Aldrin died over Saturn, and so I'm jumping around and speculating and seeing a bunch of things, and it's also almost 1 a.m. That's why I'm doing this. My head is in places it shouldn't be.
We should be wrapping up.
We will wrap up. So, using that as a wrap up.
Hey, wrap up.
Wrap up. Shout outs.
Shout outs. 1 a.m. Shout out to alarm clocks. Because I have to go to work soon. Mm-hmm.
I am going to give a very special shout out to Mr. Dino Games in chat. He has been every time every time I get to hang out and see someone in the chat, or if I'm just listening to the thing. Dino, dude, you are a constant stream. You are an encyclopedia of this game's knowledge, and every time I have some crackpot theory, or I say something that's just completely out of left field and wrong, he is right there to freaking make sure I'm in the right, or at least say, hey man, this is what it actually says, or like that. And I to no end love that we have that within this community. There's someone who has that like encyclopedic knowledge, almost, it seems like. And yeah, he's my MVP for the night, because we were just talking back and forth about the Battle of Twilight Gap, and we just about what was actually being said, because I thought the battle was actually, I knew that some of it was taking place within the city, but I thought when Shax's counterattack took place, it was outside of the city, and he pushed like 5 kilometers into the fallen lines, and that was what kind of drove the counterattack and broke the fallen. And he pointed me right to the mountaintop thing that I should have looked at and should have known. So you're my shout out for the night, Dino. You are awesome.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Yeah, Blue, your turn. Mine was my alarm clock.
Your alarm clock. Yeah, no, again, just a big thank you to Potato and to Chad as well. Again, we can't do this without you guys. We wouldn't want to do it without you guys, to be fair. But it's so much more fun to do it with a live chat. It's also so much more interesting to have, people, Potato, like you, the various guests that we've had on. It always is super fun to have different points of view brought onto the show, to argue with, to agree with, to debate over, all that fun stuff. So a big shout out to everyone who has been a guest in the past, who's been in the live chat, all that stuff. So, but yeah. And with that being said, goodbye. Shizzler's full of shit.
That's a way to
What is this nonsense?
What is it? He's in the future.
He's
Oh, everyone's turning Dredgen tomorrow. He's going.
Why is everyone turning Dredgen tomorrow? I don't get it.
I
Like,
don't. I can't get the damn sparrow.
Yeah, no, not happening.
wave format, please.
Yes.
Oh yeah, right. Pause recording.
Yes. Where's my
Export as wave
audio?
Wabe.
FFC episodes 182. Fallen. You know, this is the first technical, just named Fallen episode we've ever done. Stolen Intelligence and the other one. There's not a single episode. I went through the whole archive, trying to find like show notes from D1 to see if we had anything to help make the research a bit easier.
I just saw fake news. That was good.
We did the Elixir back in season 8 or episode 8.
Right, but that's like super early.
Oh yeah, no, I'm sorry. You said this was the only episode that we've done with just Fallen. Like, I don't think that's accurate because we did the Elixir.
It's the only one called Fallen.
Let's go.
No, it's like, what was that? December of 2015. Yeah, you know, it's not that far back.
I think I have listened to every episode of this podcast. Holy crap!
I've been on every episode of this podcast. That's just disturbing.
Oh, that's a flex right there.
Here's the thing that I want to know is how many
Flexing up over
hours
here.
how many hours have we made of this podcast?
I don't want to know. Because take that and multiply it by probably about 5.
Based off of
that's
this
how much I
recording,
time.
I'm at 3 hours and 29 minutes right there. So multiply by 182.
More. You're
No, it's
missing.
more.
You don't have behind the scenes episodes. You don't have extra lore episodes. We're over 200 episodes total easily now.
Yeah, we're over. Hang on, let me pull it up.
Oh my god,
300. This will next Friday will be 310.
310 times 3 equals 930 hours. That's just 3 hours per episode ish.
Yeah, I mean that's
give or take.
Well,
because some episodes were short.
Top threes were averaging around 30-45 minutes. You have behind the scene. I mean, because they've started flexing more with the new format too.
Ah, there's the Google Drive. I knew you sent me a link. I was like, where is this? Drop files with or use new button. I will not. I will drop files as please. Thank you.
You have to scroll back up through all of the
Yeah, I found it.
hedgehogs.
Oh my god, those are so cute.
So
reads fallen.
You guys saw the freak out on Twitter the other day about baby crocodiles?
Mm-hmm.
What?
Have you heard like how they sound?
Yeah. Pew,
Yeah.
pew, pew, pew.
Did anyone see the video of the alligator with the watermelon in its mouth?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh my god, that's so good.
I was more interested in just the way the alligator swims like that because it just you cannot think
just
dinosaur. At least I always think dinosaur. Let's see.
Well, they are dinosaurs.
Mm-hmm. 182. 182 fallen leadership. There we go. All right. All right. Well, okay, so why is Shizzler teasing you about?
I have no idea.
What is
no,
it?
apparently you do.
Dredgen Fire chat. Oh, good lord.
Oh yeah, well he's been like griefing me for not being a Dredgen for
I'm
Has
not
it been a
dredgen.
year now? Jeez.
I'm a dredgen.
No, I know, but
Am I
you
the-
don't have
I
a
liter-
moral
I
you don't
literally-
have a moral issue with it.
Nope.
It's about a year.
It's been a while. So you guys are talking crocodiles. I'm sending you this.
Dissolute. I have to work in the morning.
What time do you have to be at work?
10, so it's not that big a
Oh,
deal. It's just,
You can get a good 8 hours in and be fine.
oh yeah. It's just, I've not stopped going since 7 this morning. So
Oof, been there.
yeah,
Oh, Jesus Christ! What the hell?
the lemon thing at the end of it.
Oh yeah,
What?
no, I don't know. That's from meme base. I don't fucking don't try to logic meme base. That's just a weird thing.
Did something bite it?
Oh, speaking of meme, Wicked had brought a game with him. It was a card game.
Oh, I know what game.
The
this-
meme game. Oh
The
my
meme-
god, that's so much
no,
fun.
the meme game. Okay, there's been
Well,
there's a couple
have you
different
ever-
ones.
How do you meme? I think.
Yes,
Is what the name of it is.
yeah.
So much fucking fun. I think the makers of Cards Against Humanity made it, or at least it sounds
that's-
like it.
That is also a great game.
Hmm.
That's a game you have to play in the dark, like
Yes,
or with people of a similar screw.
or people who don't mind if you're terrible.
Oh, I made an awful one that I will not repeat. Even I know we're not live, but I will not.
Oh, we're
repeat
live.
on
We're just not
stream.
recording.
No, not like I will not put no. Nope. It's just nope.
Cards Against Humanity Destiny Edition. I mean,
Ooh.
yeah, we used to do
There
that.
was a digital one that the Legend Blue did, but he got asked not to. Kindly was basically referred to
is
was,
this
yeah, you
public?
should probably take that down.
Please do that before we have to make you.
Yeah, that was pretty much the message, was like, don't make us
Fuck.
do this.
I don't want to be a dolphin.
I want to be a dolphin. There's another one that I freaking love, and I can't find it right now.
I want to see if I can send this. I want to see if this will play for you. I'll send it through Discord if I can.
You need 7 massacre medals till Reckoner. You can do it, Doom.
Oh, you got it, man.
For sure.
Got to be a way to share this. Yeah.
Wow. Emissary Rose was really bored.
Hmm?
Have you seen the Twitter account called Emissary Rose?
No.
Not.
Just-
Twitter.
Here.
Emissary
I just make it easier. I just put the status for you.
Oh, is it only Destiny Boob Slider? Oh. This is bad.
Is that supposed to be a GIF, or is this supposed to be a
It's
picture?
just an image. It's just an image she drew.
But why?
Cause she wants a boob slider. Cause she wants bigger boobs, apparently.
Huh.
But I like the size of the boobs in Destiny. They're realistic.
I'm not weighing in on this conversation,
Yeah,
so.
I am totally weighing in on this conversation.
Green's
I
like,
have
I
a
will.
I will let people know.
I mean, I like big boobs, but I also like our guardians just the way they are. Just saying.
Please let me
Ugh.
find a way to share this. Oh, copy video URL. All right, here we go.
Oh no.
It's not that bad.
Oh no. I forced a bot to watch over 1,000 hours
Yes,
of Destiny content and
yes.
then asked it to write a Destiny mission on its own.
Yes, this
Oh
is the
my
moon
God.
one. Is this the moon one?
Yeah.
I want to see it.
A trio of guardians stand on the moon, always haunted,
I forgot
never
my wallet.
untroubled. Guardian 1. Whether we are here or not, we are here. Guardian 2. Indeed, it is what
This is amazing.
indeed is what's said.
Indeed.
The Guardians enter the Vault of Dark. It is extra dark today.
Vault of Dark.
Guardian
It's so
1.
much better.
I crave the loot slightly better than my own. A darkness the field comes into the light. It is tall and spicy, sometimes dead, always dark. Darkness.
Always dark.
I have a story, but I want you to pay.
I forgot my wallet.
Guardian 3 cries with a wet voice. They do not have a wallet. Guardian 2. No! It's the darkness. It hates us for having illumination. The Guardians turn on the light switch. The darkness turns it off in retaliation. Darkness. No light for you, just like Cade. Part-time cowboy, full-time dead. Guardian 3 cries. They couldn't pay for Cade's death. Enter the traveling ball, white and glorious.
Enter the traveling ball.
It gives the darkness a coupon for light bulbs. They have expired. This kills the darkness. Oh my god. So fucking funny. Chat, I'll give you the link. It's amazing.
Did you ever see the Destiny cartoon? It was like the loot rage from Taken King.
No. I don't think I did.
Hang on, I'll pull it up here. It is probably one of the funniest cartoons. Yeah, I'll throw it. It's in the
When males oh god.
I mean, it's fair. It's fair.
The thing is I don't want a boob slider. I don't get it. What is this? That's loot rage? Is this in retaliation for the loot cave? Is that what this was from?
This is
This is fantastic.
The original D1 when
Yeah.
when you would get like blues out of purples.
Oh, I think I have seen this then.
The best part is right at the end where the Titan's like, should I tell him? And you hear the grenade sticks when he goes, oh shit. It just boom, it just explodes. Yeah. That was it.
Part-time cowboy, full-time dead.
Oh, speaking of the light levels and the engrams and stuff like that, did you see that they're changing that in the TWAB? Instead of being... So when you decrypt something, instead of it being like 15 to 20 light levels below where you're at, it's either going to be 3 or 0.
Right?
Yeah. That's helpful. I mean, it feels less bad than 15 to 20.
That makes sense.
No, that is good. I mean, it's.
I didn't think it was 15. Was it really that low?
It was terrible.
What's oh my god?
I was just oh my godding to the Guardian using the engram to beat Rahul's head in.
Wait till the very end. Titan. And the Titan goes, yeah. Shit. Should I tell him I got hawk?
Oh god.
There's another one too where they did like
Destiny bro.
Destiny 16-bit. Did you ever see that one?
I did see that one.
I love that one where they come up a cave and they're like, "What are you doing?" It's like destroying the villainy of the hive. And they're like, they just keep coming out and we just keep killing them. He goes and he's like, is that really doing it? He goes, they're back, and they just open up on the freaking cave.
Is that really doing it? They're back.
And they shoot him and the things pop out and he goes, that'll show you. And the fucking warlock in the back goes, we're helping.
Oh god. We're helping.
And I think the other one too is they said it's like two guardians meeting. Or like what it's like, hey, what do you got to do today? He's like, well, I got a bunch of patrols. I got to shoot a bunch of guys, shoot a bunch of guys and take their stuff and go to a certain area and stand there for 30 seconds. And they go, yeah, and it goes, saving the galaxy. And
oh gosh.
Oh my god, it cracked me up. Just like I think the other one with like the warlock just going, we're helping. It was just the funniest thing. Oh my god.
Because that's how it felt. You guys were in the back anyway.
Oh, okay.
Oh, Shade Throne.
Shade Throne.
Yes. It's fine.
That was pretty good. I'll give you that. Yeah. We're helping.
Why is there no blue versus red kind of thing with Guardians? Because
Because
of
there's no theater.
machinima is difficult.
Copyright infringement.
Well, no, like not even that. There's just no way to do theater mode in
Oh, yeah,
Destiny
that's true. There's
easily
no-
right
yeah,
now.
yeah.
You can't really get
How
the
did-
machinima.
How did those guys who made those music videos? Did you ever see those
Husky Raid.
Destiny dance? Yeah, Husky
yeah.
Raid.
Yeah,
They
so
made
there's
one
there's
fairly
a
recently,
there's
too.
a like
Did
in
they?
D1 you had the sword trick, and in
Mhm.
D2 if you technically have weapon swap trick, it just kills your hand. Like the guy who's videotaping it, if you just constantly switch weapons, if you have submachine guns and
yeah.
you just swap weapons constantly, you will get the equivalent. And then if you take HUD off, you get the equivalent of a camera capture.
I
But
wonder
it
if
I found a
kills
glitch.
it kills your hand.
I found a
wonder.
glitch. Oh, go ahead, Green.
I was just gonna say, if I wonder if he macroed it on a PC.
Oh, maybe, yeah.
I think with PCs, you're probably. I don't know though if the macro would trigger something on the server
Hmm.
I don't know.
because I
I
don't know
know
if macros are.
I ran into a glitch, and I actually have it on my clips on Xbox. From what is it? The Well. God, I can't remember the name of the thing. Yeah, it's just the Well.
Radiance
Well, no, it's it's the Citadel in the Dreaming
Oh.
City.
Gotcha. Blind well.
Blind Well. And we were fighting like the final boss, and I went to go think in the game, like it had like a frame rate shift where like the game slowed down for a second because so much was happening. Like I think everyone casted their super and like 1,000 things spawned. And I had no gun for
Yeah, I've had
about
that happen.
Well,
20 minutes.
that
And I
used
was
to
like,
happen in
I
the Crucible
I
all
could
the
still
time.
I could still shoot. And I was like,
Mhm.
it was like boom, 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 boom. And I could see the rounds coming out of the front of the gun. And I was like, okay, well, I'm not really sure what to do. I just pointed at things that I thought I was aiming at.
I just pointed at things. Move the
was
center
like,
of the
"This-
screen
this-
that way.
This looks about the right direction. Just up. And it worked, but I
Alright.
was like, oh, that's cool.
Yep. All right, guys, I'm gonna head out for tonight.
Yeah, I
Alright,
should do the same.
same.
Did you get the? Did it come over to you?
Let me look.
Oh, it's still uploading. It says 50 minutes left.
All right, that's fine. Okay,
Hey, that's faster than most people.
Well, I have a pretty decent internet.
We won't talk about how fast mine uploads.
Fine.
Love you.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're in the same area as me, or in the same ISP as me, right? Do you have Google?
I have fiber. No, I have.
I don't have fiber. I don't.
No,
have
I have. The township I'm in has its own fiber.
Okay.
I definitely don't have that. I'm about 400 feet from it. I'm convinced there's a jammer put up somewhere just at the military.
Probably.
Security
Well, they have to
reasons
check to
and-
make sure that you don't send us anything.
Right.
Yeah. Well, but I mean, it cracks me up how many times I walk into a government building and all of a sudden my 5 bars goes to nothing. I'm like, there's a jammer in this building.
Well,
I'm like,
there's
either
not
that or
anything.
there's enough metal.
you cannot convince me not.
Enough metal or servers or anything
yeah,
like
I mean,
that.
I work around aircraft a lot, so those things generate their own.
Yeah, that's true.
Hooey. So, yeah.
All right,
Cool.
stream.
I
Have a
need
good
to go
night. Guys, we'll see you later.
Thanks
And
for having me.
Bye.
See you next time.